All right, supposedly we're live. YouTube says my connection is bad, but everything else says it's good, so we'll see. Let's see if we're actually live. Anybody seeing anything yet? Let's see if we get something. Supposedly we're up and running. I've got my volume set at 250%, so hopefully you guys can hear me. Let's see. That's my favorite thing of programs, is that every program you use that takes in your audio decides to cut the crap out of it on your behalf. So I love that about technology. We got a bunch of crew in the house. Retroflyer, Pete 1972, Psycho Lavos, what's going on? SF Marine back. LaserDisc Home Theater is in the house. Whoa, you made it up past 9 o'clock. Very nice. Trevor Noble in the house. What's going on, man? Yeah, I'm not seeing it on my end, but as long as you guys are seeing it on your end, then I am cool. And still have a bad stream supposedly, but what the hell? Who cares? Let's go for it. Today officially sucked. I was not anticipating working till 8 o'clock tonight, and then after that I was not anticipating sitting in a drive-through line for about a half an hour, and so I literally had absolutely no prep time and just ran in here sweaty, and just flying by the seat of my pants. Aaron Johnson in the house. What's up, man? So I had all sorts of like plans and things and thoughts and whatnot all out the window. We're just gonna go and fly crazy, flare freak flags high, and just talk some nonsense. But SM Marine says he's not getting anything. All right, well, I'll wait a few minutes before I start doing like pickups and stuff like that. Hopefully everybody's going to be getting some signal at some point. Yeah, it says I've been live for 2 minutes now, so yeah, that's good. I'll check my stream provider, which is, it's green. Everything's good to go there. So, whatever. Yeah, my public view is weird. Is still just give me the thumbnail, which is weird. What the hell? Pete was asking about syncing LaserDisc tracks to certain movies. I've seen people in... Oh, man. Skytrap Al is in the house. Nice. Talking about syncing LaserDisc tracks. I've seen the people on, like, original trilogy that are all into syncing LaserDisc tracks to, Blu-ray rips and stuff like that for archival purposes. So that's usually where I run across it. I haven't actually picked up too many of those, those torrents myself. Okay. People are getting picture. Nice. Spencer's in the house. What's going on? Live streaming is so much fun. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I'm going to do some pickups quick. I didn't really get a ton of stuff this week. I didn't get any LDs in the mail. But I did happen to run past Big Lots. I got a bunch of super crappy, cheap DVDs and Blu-rays. Actually, no, they're all Blu-rays. And they're usually cheap. For a while, they were all $3. And then they started kind of pushing Blu-rays back up to $5 or so. And then DVDs were around $3. And then, so I kind of dig through. Sometimes if stuff's marked $5, I can find a $3 alternate in there somewhere. And there was a bunch of stuff on clearance. So I got a bunch for like $1.50 or something. So we're going to go for it. My public view still sucks. So I'm going to go up here for a minute so I can see what I'm doing. But I got Timothy Oliphant's original Hitman, which I still never got around to seeing. Never played the game, but I figured it was $1.50. Why not? I like Timothy Oliphant, and it was cheap. So I grabbed that. I figured I would grab some more older Marvel stuff that I had gotten rid of my DVD copies of. And, man, this really, watching this again, really made me realize how much the MCU has advanced the art of comic book adaptations in cinema. But yes, I watched Daredevil, the director's cut again. I hadn't seen the director's cut since borrowing the DVD version a long time ago. And yeah, it's still a little cringy at times, but I got a little bit of a soft spot for it. It's definitely ripping off the Crow a little bit and a few other things it wears on its sleeve. But so I had to get that. It was a 2-disc version, is it? No, just a single disc. And you can't get Daredevil without getting the Electro director's cut. Yeah, we're talking another another single disc. Stupid eco cases. So that's the first thing I got to do is swap those out. Also grabbed a little more highbrow. I don't know if Vincent's in the house yet. I gotta scope down and check out comments. But I grabbed Rendition, which is Gavin Hood directed. So there was another Gavin Hood political thriller there too. I think Eye in the Sky. So maybe I'll check that out too. And I know I have this on Shudder, but I figured, Euro horror films. Who did this? Nick Murphy. I haven't seen it, but decent cast. Rebecca Hall, Dom West, Imelda Staunton. The Awakening, not to be confused with Awakenings, plural. And get my Beatles on. I've been meaning to get this for quite some time. Is this Blu-ray DVD combo pack of Across the Universe. So grab that. And this film I never saw. I went to go see the preview screening of it, but they said it was at 7:30 and it was actually at 7, so I'd already missed half the movie by the time I got there, and I just never got around to watching it. Also Vincent approved Little Miss Sunshine. 4K Cinema HD is also in the house. What's up, man? Got a question about starter players too. I gotta do that. And then closing things off, I got rid of my old DVD copies and got these 2-disc versions of X-Men and X2, X-Men United. Whoa, Steve Vincent Furness is in the house. What is up, my friend? Man, long time no see. Cool, we got a good crowd tonight. So yeah, so that's just the small pile of stuff I grabbed. There was a couple steel books I heard they had that I was on the hunt for, but they didn't have it at my location, sadly. But I'll keep looking. So yeah, there was a question about the best starter LD player. What was the one he was saying he was gonna get? Hold on, let me bring that back up. I wanted to get an LD player since 2011. Thinking about looking locally in the coming months. It's depending on who you ask, it runs the gamut. I mean, for a starter player, I'm actually pretty cool with some of the entry-level Pioneer mid-90s, early to mid-90s single-sided players. Like a CLD S201 is a pretty sweet player. No bells and whistles, and then it's got a pure composite image, so it might be a little noisier, but it does look pretty good. I mean, you're not going to get optical out if you want to play DTS discs, or if you want to have your receiver decode the PCM tracks instead of doing it in the player. But something like that is pretty decent. But then there's a whole other kind of world of entry-level LD collecting where you get if you can have access to like one of those cheap industrial players. Same thing, you're not going to get bells and whistles and digital outputs, etc. But you can get a diehard Pioneer player that was made for schools or colleges, and those things will just keep going forever. So that's always an option if you want to step up your game a little bit. I'm also partial to the mid-grade kind of 90s players Pioneer put out. Like if you want like a double-sided player, the CLD D500 series is nothing to sneeze at. I had a D504 for a long time. I had a D502. I had a D505. All good players. And then once you hit the 504 and 505, you get AC3 as well. Some of them don't have optical out, so again, no DTS discs, etc. If you want to step up a little bit higher than that, there's like the 600 series, and I know some people that jump right into like a player like the CLD D704, which is one of those Swiss Army players. It's got everything, so you can play analog out, digital, pump out digital out PCM or DTS, and also it pumps out an RF feed for AC3 discs. And there's a couple other different variants of that. There's the Elite CLD 79. There's also the Elite CLD 99, which is, you know, a little bit nicer. And, you know, there's some people that say the entry-level player should only be the HLD X9. So, yeah, it definitely runs the gamut. If you also want to go Panasonic, you can get some pretty nice Panasonics, like the LX H670 is a nice player with optical out and double-sided play, and the 680 also throws in a AC3 out. And then, of course, if you can find an LX 900, that's pretty tasty too, or a 600. But yeah, I mean, I would be happy with a CLD D701 or S201. Yeah, I watched GoldenEye at one time and had a great time. Yes, Big Lots is definitely very missed instead hit. There was a really big dry spell for a while, and then just recently it's been kicking up really, really hardcore. There's a lot of Blu-rays, so I was surprised they actually had some Blu-rays on clearance. I might actually go back. They had Wyatt Earp on clearance, and what else? I think Runner. Pardon me. Hopefully that's not blasting out your ears now that I have my volume at 250%. Just for LaserDisc home theater. But yeah, a couple other ones. So I might go back and grab those. Have I ever heard of Night Shift? I watched Night Shift, the original 80s film, Henry Winkler, Michael Keaton. I watched that film on VHS so many times. That and what was it? The Chevy Chase movie Foul Play were some of my early comedy movies. Yeah, I was at the age when I didn't get to see Night Shift in the theaters, but my parents were okay with me watching it on cable. And then I had a copy of it on VHS, and yeah, I watched the hell out of that movie. But I've not seen it in a long time, so I'd really like to revisit that sucker. A lot of good early 80s comedies. I really want to get, I think there's a Blu-ray now of Neighbors, which I'm psyched about, because that was one of my LaserDiscs I had, which is, I mean, it never even got reissued on LaserDisc. It was a really, really crappy like early, 82 or something LaserDisc with rot and stuff like that. So nothing great. Spencer was saying he got the old Snapper DVD of Night Shift instead of waiting longer. Yeah, I mean, it could take a while. What else we got going on down here? Let's bring this beat down. Whoa! All right. Suddenly I got an ass ton of comments. All right. I think I'm in a good space up here. I gotta make sure I keep this going so I can keep LaserDisc Home Theater awake. So LaserDisc Home Theater says Sony Muse best starter player. There you go. Go Muse. But now the cat's out of the bag. The $10 Sony Muse and Panasonic Muse players are gone now. It's going to be like bidding wars all the time. Or the chances of LaserDisc Home Theater not buying every other Sony Muse player that he sees coming his way until he has like a wall of them. It's going to be like if you see Slayer live, Kerry King has like a stack of Marshalls behind him. That's going to be LaserDisc Home Theater. It's going to have like a stack of Sony Muse players up to the ceiling. Excellent. Oh, Skytrap was saying, not a fan of Across the Universe. Damn it! Now I wasted my $2. I'm still going to check it out. But X-Men BDs are super solid discs and not really bettered by their 4Ks. Good to hear. Yeah, I had the original X-Men DVD, which I think had like a slip case, and I remember people losing their crap over it when it was coming out. A home theater forum, everybody was like demanding a double disc and demanding this and demanding that, and it didn't really have a ton of extras, but it was still pretty good. I never got the version 1.5 or any of that stuff. And then the X2 disc, I was like, I have 3 on Blu-ray, so I might as well just sell the DVDs, and then I just waited for a good time to get the Blu-rays, and I figured these double discs were pretty nice. What else we got going on here? Oh, Melinda's in the house. What is going on? Respect. Welcome to the party. What else we got going on here? Yeah, Spencer was talking about digital sound too. Yeah, beware if you're looking for older players. If you get the really, really old players from before 1984 or so, you run the risk of having no digital sound, period. Not even just the problem of no digital output with the raw, PCM or DTS track on there. You run the risk of having a player that will only play the analog tracks, and then that becomes a little bit of a problem when you play newer discs that have sometimes, like we were talking, the Armageddon Criterion disc, which has 2 commentary tracks on the analog track, so you can't actually listen to the movie soundtrack at all if you have an older player that plays analog only. Or in the case of a lot of later releases that do have AC3, you'll either get a mono version of the movie soundtrack, or if there's a commentary track, again, you'll have static in one channel, that is the AC3 RF signal, and then the audio commentary in the other channel. So yeah, be very careful of that stuff, especially if you're going to be collecting a lot of 90s releases. SF Marine said he got a great entry-level player for $35 off a guy from Craigslist. Yeah, Craigslist has been dead in my neck of the woods, and everybody seems to think they have gold, and every junky player is like $250, so we'll see. Hopefully the market will get better at some point. But we were just talking, the prices seem to be trending up. I have not watched Codename Kids Next Door, but I have tripped across the title, but I have not seen it. What do we got? I'm lucky. Love to find a laser active. It's funny. I was talking in one of our groups. Laser active is the new thing for some reason. I mean, it's not the new thing, and it's been around, since 1992 or so. But for some reason, it's the new entry-level thing. Like if you go on LaserDisc Forever on Facebook, it's just laser active this, laser active that. Like there's this whole new saturation point for laser active. So that means, well, one, they have capacitor problems, so they need work. On the plus side, there are a lot of people doing the work on them and fixing them up and putting new caps in them. But on the other hand, I mean, they were sort of tough to find before. And now that everybody has a laser active, they're going to be a lot tougher to find. On the plus side, they do, I mean, on the negative side, they're a low-end Laserdisc player. On the plus side, they do match well with other Pioneer players from the time, like maybe like the 502 or the 201. They share a lot of the same gut, so you can find other donor players and steal things from them and swap them in if you need to. I do have a good book. It was like a Pioneer training manual that came out around the time that explained all the differences between the laser active and similar players of its time. So, and give some repair tips and tricks and all that sort of stuff. Weebrat was saying, how much longer of a lifespan do you think DVD has? I know for a good 8 or 9 years people have been saying it's on its way out, yet it's kicking. Yeah, I mean, and there's times when I go to places that should have Blu-rays, and there's just tons of DVDs, and like it's amazing when I even go to like a Walmart nowadays. You see those like feeding troughs of, or even a Best Buy, those feeding troughs of discount videos, and I just always expect them to be full of Blu-rays by now, but there's so many DVDs out there. Yeah, it's just it's reached this kind of saturation point, and it seems like it's impacted this group of people that for them it's as good as it needs to be. It's interesting. I am intrigued as to how many of those people, because people seem to be buying into HD TVs, and 4K sets are flying off the shelves left and right. Like, every time I go into a BJ's, there's like a 12-year-old kid with like, a 4K set under each arm. Like, so I mean, I think really high definition television has infiltrated households pretty well by now. So I'm imagining there's a ton of households that are still watching DVD on those sets. Maybe they just don't care because they're watching HD on cable and streaming, and for optical media, DVD is good enough. It's weird. It's really kicking and screaming out the door. So yeah, whatever. As long as it doesn't cause any I mean, everyone seems to be making Blu-ray counterparts, etc., so it doesn't cause any negative impact on my Blu-ray collecting. I'm cool with that. Pete 9072. Oh, Pete 9072 is a big Twister defender. Highly entertaining flick. Yes, I love to watch Twister. Usually every summer, like around June, I want to fire that up, and it's got a vibe to it. It's got a Michael Crichton-esque vibe, because of course he wrote it with his then wife, and it's got a vibe similar to reading his novels, and I know, yeah, it's got some, you know, narrative problems and implausibilities, etc. But it's got this kind of, you know, there's danger and stuff, but there's no, Carrie Elways isn't really much of a villain. There's no main antagonist, and so in that sense, it's this really kind of like just fun ride all the way through, even in spite of the danger, which kind of taps into the mindset of these storm chasers that are chasing danger but are still enjoying themselves along the way, you know, until it gets personal and they almost get killed multiple times. But yeah, there's just something about it. There's a buzz about that flick that it doesn't matter how, you know, good or bad it is. It's like near and dear. So let's see what we got. Oh yeah, Deku Sector 2 was talking about DVDs, commercial applications being relevant, and yeah, there's no real answer. Yeah, for sure, right? Let's see what else we got down here. Let's bring these comments down, try and get caught up to you guys. Let's see. Flea markets are hit and miss in the UK. Skytrap Al was saying. Still got to order Ransom with Ian McShane and Sean Connery. Yeah, I want to see that flick. Not Ransom with Mel Gibson, but the old 70s Ransom. Flea markets around me are hit or miss too. They're really good though for DVDs, and they're getting really good for Blu-rays too, actually, surprisingly. A lot of it too is just people that are flipping the digital codes. So they get a Blu-ray and they just crack it open and they sell the digital code, and then the Blu-ray is just kind of like, you know, whatever. So it's gravy for them. They've already made their money back selling digital codes, so they hustle the Blu-rays nice and cheap. So if you don't mind the fact that the code is already taken, you can get them pretty good at flea markets around here. LaserDisc is still pretty non-existent for the most part, but I do hit them every once in a while. And vinyl is good though. The only problem is that, you know, flea markets are, you know, largely during the summer months here in New England, and not all of the vendors have tents, and their vinyl just sits out in the sun and melts. So I tend to only go to those vendors that have, you know, nice awnings and keep their stuff slightly cool. There's just so much stuff that just sits out in the sun baking all day, so you really got to watch out for it. OMG, it's X-Men 1.5. Heads explode on the forums back then. Yeah, never did get the 1.5, but yeah, I don't, you know, I should get the 2-disc X3, because I've got the old first edition, the one when it first dropped on Blu-ray. So maybe I will, because I did have that at Big Lots, so maybe I'll upgrade. Damn it! Why'd you make me upgrade? I think I'm going to stop by there tomorrow and see if they got anything new. What else we got going on here? I think I was still talking about Blu-rays and DVDs. Yeah. Let's see. Just do SD on Blu-ray disc just to get it out there. I was pretty surprised at some of the TV shows that they have gone through and remastered for Blu-ray. I was surprised Mill Creek ended up dropping Miami Vice on Blu-ray, and apart from a bunch of issues when they first released it, apparently they got those all sorted and actually did some decent work on the restoration. So the last time I watched the whole series through was on my DVDs, which I still kept. But I am looking forward to watching that all again on Blu-ray. And lately I've been, yeah, my wife just got the entire Bewitched series on DVD. So yeah, I'm part of the problem. We've been watching those lately. Oh yeah, be careful of rot, yeah, with your LaserDisc for sure. Craigslist Hartford is awful for LD. Ah, yes, someone feeling my pain. It is awful. There's nothing going on in Hartford. Even overall with Craigslist, I've had a couple hits in Connecticut. I had a lot in Vernon, and one in Granby, and I think on Facebook Marketplace I got a player like way down like New Haven way somewhere. But everything else I have to drive into Massachusetts for the most part. It's usually around Worcester somewhere, or Ware, Massachusetts. I got a bunch of stuff there, and yeah, and beyond. So yeah, Hartford sucks for a LaserDisc. Too many museums. Yes. Have you guys seen the LaserDisc Museum? There's a video on YouTube. Oh, speaking of which, YouTube has been a pain because, well, I mean, first world problems. I can't watch all my LaserDisc content without using Google because they took away the filters for being able to search for content by release or upload date because of people constantly spamming with the Christchurch shooting footage. And so they just decided to shut down filters altogether. So my usual, idea of binge watching LaserDisc videos by searching for everything that's been released during the week, I can't do on YouTube proper. So now I have to go through Google and do a search there and then sort that. But yeah, there is a video from maybe a couple months ago from a LaserDisc museum, which apparently is just a guy in Maryland, maybe it was. Martin McFly's got no sound. That sucks. Anybody else hearing me? Let's see. Hopefully everybody else is hearing me. Shout out to Moikey. Oh yeah, I got to give a shout out to the Legends of Cherry Hill because he gave me a shout out in his video. No, maybe people hear me. All right, I'm going back up. Hopefully I got audio. LaserDisc Home Theater will let me know if he can't. Yeah, where is Moikey? Moikey better be here. Austin Wilcott showed up. What's going on? But yes, there's a LaserDisc museum, which is a couple and a basement, and their basement is just filled with LaserDiscs that are just in stacks on the floor. Looks like lots of sealed stuff. There's obviously a story behind there. I don't know what it is. But then they're also selling things, supposedly to fund the museum, but I don't know why you would sell your museum contents in order to fund the museum unless they're all doubles or something like that. And apparently people haven't had success buying those things. We'll see. Let's see what's going on. Ooh, bought a Predator LD months ago. I got a Predator LD from the one, the only Chris Altman, I believe it was, hooked me up with a copy, and we watched that work on the Samsung flat screen in there, and that was a good time. That movie rocks. I still have not picked up any of the newer Predator releases. There's that multi-film Blu-ray I see all the time for relatively cheap, but yes, every time Moikey is here, shout out to Moikey. Scott was talking about modifying the laser active to get AC3 out. Yeah, you can grab the boards. Still, I don't know if Benedictus is still selling the boards from Germany, but you can mod just about any player. And there's some players that are a little bit easier and to get the RF out, and some are wicked easy. So, which is very nice. These even got, I think his website's still up, but he even had like a listing of players and the difficulty rating. So like a Sony MDP333 is like a 9, and some of the Pioneers are like a 1 or a 2. But I do know there's some dudes that are still working on making custom boards. Hopefully those are going to be like available or mass marketed sometime soon. No one seems to care about the 4K discs. I care about the 4K discs. I care. I'll bring them into my home if I have to. I'm still planning on doing a LaserDisc for Dummies. Yes, I am. I am definitely doing that video, like a laser fac, basically. I need to get that out sooner than later because I really want to do it. Yeah, so I'm going to make that happen. Psycho Lavas was saying when I picked up my first couple of movies back in January, parents are like, WTF, why are you into LaserDiscs? It's no different than people my age into vinyl. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely on the uptick. We've seen in the LaserDisc group on Facebook, LaserDisc Forever, like it's been close to 10,000 people. I don't know if it's gone over yet, but it's been really gaining momentum. What other resources are there for LaserDisc repair parts? Yes, that was one of the topics that was going to be carried over from last week that was requested. There is a lack of qualified LD-specific repairmen out there. There's one gentleman down Virginia way who is pretty forthcoming about putting out his information in forums if anybody posts for help, and he's very, very helpful and will answer your emails and is very patient and has helped me numerous times, and I know has helped LaserDisc Home Theater, etc. So he's essentially our LaserDisc Yoda On the negative side, he doesn't really actively take on new repair jobs just because, you know, his life is complicated and busy, and there's so much stuff out there that needs, you know, repair work or something. So he's much more likely to help you, you know, in an angel on your shoulder method via email, than having you send your player to him. There used to be a guy out in the Pacific Northwest called Duncan, from, I think it was Bayview Electronics, and yeah, it's one of those things where it's like he became a scammer, but it's the inertia of this sort of thing. You know, you're doing this on your spare time, and eventually it reaches some sort of critical mass where you've got more players than you have time to fix. So I don't think he ever like intended on becoming a scammer, because he was actually like a legitimate repair facility for so long. But I think it just became a little bit too much, and instead of facing it and dealing with some of the repercussions of it, he just kind of shut down. So it was sad, and there was a lot of people that had good, you know, CLD 97s and stuff in his care that couldn't get him back. So there was that. There was Grasshopper from what I believe Michigan area, but I haven't heard much about him in the longest time. So kind of what the, you know, the playing field is right now. There's a couple people out there that are doing, you know, repairs to the best of their abilities, and you know, like myself, I don't really take on major repair jobs because I'm just kind of figuring out stuff. I know myself and LaserDisc Home Theater have kind of been pushed into the deep end of the pool and tried to, you know, scramble for whatever scraps of information we can find to keep going. But you know, I'm not fantastic on the electronic side of things. Actually, yeah, there's a gentleman from Boston that we've befriended who's LaserDisc Home Theater's been able to get some great like recap jobs done from him lately. So it helps having someone that has some, you know, quality soldering skills, etc. Eventually, I'm gonna have to start biting the bullet on that front and doing some work. But so yeah, there's a lot of like, amateur level people, but then on the other side, there's repair shops that will still take your players in, especially if they're pioneers, because the service manuals are still available and they'll give it a shot. But the difference between somebody like our LaserDisc Yoda in Virginia and those guys is that there's like a kind of world of intricacy and fine-tuning and like LaserDisc centric knowledge that guy has that isn't going to be covered in a manual. So some of those like repair shops, they'll probably do an okay job and give it a shot. They'll be able to change your belt and all that stuff, and maybe, you know, center the optics, or if you have some sort of, you know, crosstalk problem, they should be able to fix that. But there's a lot of weird little nuanced pockets of information out there that is going to be lost eventually, and you know, there should be some like repository for it. But you know, some of the people that really know this stuff aren't really prone to taking the time to, you know, to train somebody and take on a Padawan and really teach us the ropes. So it is rather a shame, because there's, you know, even people just with knowledge even outside of repair, but just intense knowledge of LaserDisc history, like Disclord on LDDB passed on, and has, you know, taken this extreme pile of knowledge with them. So yeah, it is a rough period right now, because there's a severe lack of LaserDisc proper repairmen out there. So you know, the best bet is to if you want to reach out, if you got something specific, I can probably put you in touch with our LaserDisc Yoda, or if you do have a local repair shop, if it's nothing too crazy, you might be able to take it there. And then the other option is just to try and pull it off yourself. Go on the forums and ask for help and see if you can get a copy. Pretty much most of the service manuals are available online. If you can't get them, the LaserDisc database actually has a repository of manuals, scans of them, and they're all free. But it's kind of tough to find sometimes. If you do like a Google search for LDDB.com LaserDisc manuals, you should be able to find the parent file menu and get them from there. But yeah, it's tough. It's a tough situation right now. So on the other hand, like, there's some simple maintenance that's rather easy. Hopefully this guy with his truck running next to me will leave at some point. It's awesome. Just idling his 1980s style Ford Bronco or whatever he's got out there. That's right, buddy. But yeah, so there's a ton of manuals out there, and if you want to do some mild maintenance yourself, changing a belt is easy. But the other problem is Pioneer Parts USA had tons of the little spindle motor cushions that helps break the laser discs, stop them at the end of the side, and those are drying up. Belts, officially are drying up source wise, but that doesn't matter because you can get, for a lot of players use the generic SCQ 3.6 ones. You can get those pretty easily generically through Amazon or eBay or something, so that's not really much of a problem. But those spindle motor grip ring cushions, that's a bit of an issue. So yeah, it's tough. Let's see what else we got going on down here. Pete was saying, I know you're thinking about room tour updates. How about maybe another Week in Life series? Yeah, actually, I haven't done a Week in Life in a while. I should have done that while we were doing a little bit more recording in the studio and stuff with my band. That would have been pretty fun. We're in like post-production right now, so maybe I could whip something out. But yeah, I'd definitely be down to doing something like that again. Be pretty cool. Ducky Sucker was saying with Twister, best audio release, LCD AC3, DVD AC3, DVD, DTS, full bitrate, or lossless Blu-ray tracks. I only own Twister on CAV and CLV AC3 Laserdisc. I never bought it on DVD, and I never bought it on Blu-ray, and I just watched it on Laserdisc. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to upgrade. But he did say he's heard people prefer virtually each option. That's awesome. I do remember the DTS full bitrate came out. It was like the big deal. Like, wasn't there like a whole pile of Warner movies that were being reissued in full bitrate, like Interview with the Vampire, etc. And it was like, ooh, buy them again. But yes, I don't own any of that stuff, sadly. I did have a collection update too. I was gonna do a thing where I go through, because today on a chat group we were going through our LDDB collections and breaking them down by genre. Maybe I'll do it on my phone and see like how many titles per genre type you have. And I did look on my film aficionado list, and it does need upgrading, and I think I need to take some DVDs out and put some Blu-rays in. But right now it's sitting at around 1,665 titles, and yeah, that's missing some music stuff and some other things. And on LDDB, my official LD collection, which is the stuff behind me, is sitting at 829 right now. That might be a title or two shy, and that's not counting my stuff at work. That's like a whole other collection. But yeah, I'll catch up on comments, and then maybe if I get some time, I'll go over to LDDB and try and do that genre breakdown. Yeah, Let Go and OfferUp is also dry with Laserdisc players. I check Craigslist, I check Let Go, I check OfferUp, I check Facebook Marketplace, and yeah, it's pretty tight. Yeah, you can find a CLDD 502 for $300. That you can find, and it's covered in like dog feces and hair, like a CED always is. But man, Aaron Johnson was asking my thoughts on the Star Trek movies. I'm intrigued that the Shatner Star Trek movies and Patrick Stewart movies are on Blu-ray. My favorite is Star Trek for the Voyage Home. The weird thing is, I always liked Star Trek. I always watched the original series. I saw every film in the theater, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's a single one I missed. Usually opening night, etc. But then outside of VHS, I never bought any of them for the longest time. And then just very, very recently, mostly because there were different releases over the time. Like Laserdisc got a couple box sets. Then there were like DVD sets. There was like clamshell DVDs. There was box sets of the clamshell DVDs, and it just kept coming out. And there's like that kind of like option paralysis moment where I like, no, I have to do research if I want to get the good versions. And I'm like, do I really want to do the research? And I'm like, I'll do the research some other day. And then I just never buy them because I don't know if they're the ones I need to get. So, I even have movie scripts for some of the Star Trek films, but I just only had them on VHS for the most part. So yeah, now I have the letterboxed Laserdiscs all the way up through First Contact. I don't have not Nemesis. That didn't come out on Laserdisc. I don't have Insurrection yet. I just saw that was selling cheap recently too. I should have picked that up. So I need to get Insurrection. Even though It's kind of like weak sauce, but I wouldn't mind revisiting that. It's been a long time since I've seen that. Thinking about, I just saw, speaking of movies around that time frame, I just saw the Matrix 20th anniversary screening over the past weekend. So I tried to look at the color timing and see if it was the same color timing as the deep flipper DVD or the snapper case DVD, but I can't remember what it, like, I mean, the stuff that was kind of green still looked kind of green, and their black outfits were still black, etc., and the gray skies were still gray. But yeah, I saw that movie like maybe 4 times in the cinemas when it was originally out, and it was a trip watching it. It's been a while since I've seen it, actually, so now I kind of want to watch the Animatrix again and do all that stuff. But yeah, so that was pretty fun. Looked okay in 4K or whatever they were screening, or I'm sure it was from a 4K scan or something like that, but looked pretty good. Good sound too. They even had a D-box, a couple of rows of D-box seats there, and depending on how many people are in the active D-boxes, like, it still rumbles the entire stadium. So I got some bonus rumblage. It was fun, but yeah, it just reminded me again how kick-ass the ending of that movie is. Like, the Rage Against the Machine song kicks on, and you just have Neo giving his, like, yeah, guess what, suckers? Yeah, I'm gonna kick your ass message on the phone, and just, like, flies up into the sky. Like, no sequel could, like, ever live up to that, because we all created this kick-ass sequel after that, seeing that in our heads. And then I saw Reloaded, and I'm like, this is not my beautiful Matrix. This is not my beautiful Neo. This is, yeah, I was like, the movie I made in my head is so much better than this. And again, that really struck home seeing it. Like, I just remember how freaking buzzed, you were when those end credits come up, and, Zach De La Rocha's ripping out his lungs. And I was reading a piece that was really harsh on it recently, talking about, how it was horrible, and there's just horrible new metal and all this stuff, and it was the worst of the worst. But then I think the guy also said that he hated it when it came out too, and that he was only excited about the Phantom Menace coming out. So yeah, I don't know, take it with a grain of salt. I thought it still held up rather well. It was still pretty fun. All right, what else we got going on? Temporary scar. Whoa, we got some temporary scars in the house. Still hoping to snag a Sony, but didn't you have a Sony player at one point, but you sold it, right? So we need to get LaserDisc Home Theater to get you a Sony Muse player, I think. After he gets me one, though, of course, from his Kerry King wall of Sony Muse players. For records, I usually go to shows or conventions outside the usual stores. Everything else is a crapshoot. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for records, if you want to find something dusty and dirty and crappy, you can get some stuff locally or whatever. But I actually have a pretty decent amount of record stores in my area, both new and used. In my town, there's at least 2 big used record stores, which is strange. And then I've got, Newberry Comics right down the street, which stocks a decent amount of new stuff. And then if I want to take a road trip to the archive or whatever, so I'm pretty spoiled for records, thankfully, which is nice. I really have to order anything online every once in a while. But yeah, I can pretty much find whatever I want. And then But yeah, conventions are good. We do have some decent conventions around here too. I recommend that, because then you get a lot of those good stores all meeting together, and they take a lot of their good kind of showcase pieces with them. What else we got? Skytrap was saying he needs a new Stargate Deluxe Edition 2-disc. Yeah, you had the chip on that sucker. I gotta get that myself. I just have the regular old Stargate, the original AC3 one. I heard that when it first dropped, there was some AC3 dropouts, but my version seems to be okay. Pete was saying, would any LaserDisc YouTube channel be more famous than yours? You are the YouTube icon of LaserDisc. Well, thank you, sir. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good LaserDisc content out there, but the other thing is a lot of the YouTube your recommendations all go to people that aren't really like LaserDisc centric channels, but they're just tech channels that happen to cover LaserDisc once or twice. So it is definitely it's a niche. And it's tough to kind of climb up within that niche because of that, because all the views are going to, of course, Techmoan's channel review of LaserDisc. And I know it drives LaserDisc Home Theater crazy because there's a pretty dedicated following to Techmoan already. And It's just like Tecmo knows everything about LaserDisc, and then meanwhile you got this guy who's doing nonstop research, into all these players. Like he's always getting all these import decks and trying out different connections and processors and stuff like that. So you have these people that really do have a depth of knowledge about LD. So check out LaserDisc Home Theater's channel. Check out Ducky Sucker's channel. And there's like for collections, there's a decent amount of stuff out there. But yeah, it's I'm super proud to be part of the LaserDisc YouTube cabal, if there is such a thing, or the LaserDisc YouTube mafia. I really dig that it's getting out there and that I can talk to people from all around the world, because obviously Darth Boy's in the house. What is up, my friend? The people in my neighborhood that know about LaserDisc are very, very few. Any new LD pickup videos in the future? Melinda wanted to know. Yeah, it has been a little bit. I think I got a couple things coming soon, and then I did cheat and I showed my... Did I file it away? I showed my Technodisc pressing of License to Kill that I got from the archive last week. But I think I got some more coming soon, and I promise I'll make another like Japanese order or something like that in the near future, just to get some more content going. So I do hope I will have some more, especially because I rearranged my shelves a little bit more. Austin was saying, I gotta show it. I don't know why it was held for review. That's stupid. The Matrix is green as shit on Blu-ray. I have heard that. There it is, green as shit. Let me get back up top a little bit. Man, I am behind. Trying to catch up to you guys. Newsflash, LD people are nuts. Also flagged. What the hell? LaserDisc Home Theater, you're coming in here. Oh, man. All right, I think I'm back up here. All right, so Melinda, got you there. Bewitched, great series, yeah, good stuff. Found my Laser Active with Sega pack at the thrift store. Yeah, and if you have any retro conventions or something like that, every time I'm at Retro World, there's always at least one Laser Active kicking around there. Sometimes it's going for like $400 and it's got no packs, but you can get it. Darth Boy was mentioned. DVD disc rot is bad too. And man, if you got into HD DVDs and you collected Warner titles, those suckers all are eating themselves up and dying. And there's also been like issues with bronzing on Blu-ray. I know Criterion had some pressing issues with some of their earlier Blu-rays. There was one particular pressing plant they were using that was having like major layer change issues, etc. So yeah, optical media always has, a bit of a... Oh, cool. All right, everyone can hear me. I asked like 20 minutes ago, and I've been so lost in comments. I'm just catching up to that now. But yeah, it's usually the earlier discs that had issues like that. But yeah, I'm willing to roll the dice with the opportunity to have something in optical media versus streaming. So, all right, good. Glad the sound is good for everybody. Let's move on down. A Retro Flyer grabbed Star Wars Definitive on a New Jersey Craigslist this week. New Jersey actually has some decent stuff. I see some things on the Jersey, because I've got like a search radius that goes out a little ways, but I don't usually get a laser bus and drive too far out of my domain. Could let other people get stuff that's in their own backyard. So I try not to poach other people's territories too much, like some people I know. But yeah, I have seen some stuff down in Jersey for sure. Some good stuff. And I am definitely still working on a Definitive Collection mega video. LaserDisc Home Theater with museum and quotations. That is indeed in quotes. Let's see. There were still DVD ports of LDs well into the mid-2000s, even a number of archive MOD discs or LD ports. Yeah, I know, it's weird. There's that whole crossover period where it's like, yeah, LD transfer, good enough for DVD. What was it? Paying £50 for a Phantom Menace LD, which has been signed. Yeah, but Al picked up that. I don't know if anybody saw it. It was going around on the LD forums for a while. There was a Phantom Menace LD that was signed by a number of people that weren't in the Phantom Menace. So everyone was giving them crap, but he took a gamble on it and had it certified that the signatures were actually legit. So yeah, who cares if it's got, you know, Ewok signing it and stuff. What else we got? Oh, and we got Disney talking, Disney Star Wars action. I saw a big think piece recently about how if Disney was going to release a 4K unaltered original trilogy box set, they would have done it by now. I don't necessarily buy that. Like, one, they said Lucasfilm would have done it by now, and I don't necessarily think that's the case. I know there's the whole issue of Kathleen Kennedy living by George's wishes to not release the films, and yes, for anyone that hasn't been following the Fox buyout from Disney, Disney owns, you know, Lucasfilm and Star Wars, but they didn't own the distribution rights to The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. They were going to get that stuff in 2020, and then Star Wars, you know, Episode 4, A New Hope, was going to be in Fox's pocket in perpetuity, and then the only way they were able to get that was by buying Fox outright. So now that they own it all, they can technically go back and release the trilogy. And people always talk about, well, Lucas destroyed the original negatives when he made the special editions in '97, but yeah, there's options out there, as the fans have already made well known. There's a lot of people with private prints, a lot of people screening those private prints, a lot of people making scans of those prints. There's options. So, you know, 4K 77 might be the best bet in the meantime, but yeah, I have a hard time believing now that Disney owns all of, you know, the old school Star Wars films, the original trilogy, that they're not gonna pull out a 4K release at one point. Maybe call me a little crazy or too optimistic about it, but 4K was talking about the original Alien AC3 disc. Man, that thing's crazy, and it's got like alternate sound cues and everything because it was taken like directly from the 70mm track. But holy crap, I finally picked that up. It is a monster. I need to get the Aliens one still too. And then yeah, Pete was also talking about the 4K 77 version. There's a Return of the Jedi one too, and I believe they're working on Empire one too. Moikey's got a question. Let's see what Moikey's got going on. What's your current favorite LD player? Well, I do rather like the CLD 99 that Moikey sold to me. So, shout out to Moikey. And but you know, I still really like my, of course, the Quasar LD 700. It might be a three-way tie. Love the Quasar LD 700. But I really like the Pioneer LDS1 in the right spot. Like, that's my bedroom player because I don't have it hooked up to a 5.1 surround sound system or something. But for plug and play into a CRT TV, LDS1 is like, I just love that sucker. But yeah, it was when I'm firing it up through a 5.1 system, it's going to be my LD700 or the CLD99 so far. Yeah, that said, I still really like my Sony MDP800 too, so yeah, it might be a four-way tie. And no matter what, my Sony MDP333 is always first and foremost in my heart, no matter what comes. Maybe a Sony Muse player will overtake it, but I'm still getting buried with that sucker. So that'll be hilarious. It'll be like Return of the Living Dead. There's going to be like Rocky Erickson playing as I'm getting dumped on the rack to get cremated, and they're just gonna like toss on a Sony player after me and then shove me in there. But yeah, so there was a lot of Star Wars talk, but yeah, I do not believe Lucas for a second. Yeah, he's definitely an unreliable narrator. That guy is a major contrarian. Is that a Godfather set? There's actually two Godfather sets. This is the Godfather trilogy, the recut version, which is all three films cut chronologically. It is in open matte or full screen. They're not really wide films anyway, so not really much of a big deal. But it's the way it was shown on television. Really, really nice box. And this one here, they were too cheap to put any writing on the side, is the later AC3 widescreen Godfather trilogy reissue. So I got those two suckers. Again, I don't own that on anything other than LaserDisc either, and I'm not really bummed out about it. I'm totally cool with those guys. SM Marine was saying they saw a Macintosh MLD 7020 manual going for a low $220. Man, everybody thinks everything they have Macintosh related is just pure gold. And yeah, it's a freaking owner's manual. It is some of those owner manuals are pretty nice. Like I think it's got like a nice, you know, kind of matte finished, like thick cover, and like it's a fancy owner's manual, but $220, it's like, yeah, you're just paying for the Macintosh of it all. What else we got going on down here? Alien AC. Oh yeah, Ducky Sucker's also talking about the Alien AC3 sense around mix. And I used to listen to the Alien CAV box set for the most part for the longest time. I love when other movies use the same sound effects from, you know, the opening shots of the Nostromo waking up and all that stuff. Those shots, you know, that stuff gets used all the time. Stuff from that gets reused in Blade Runner, etc. There's like a deep kind of like humming noise that the ship makes that I hear all the time in other movies. Super cool stuff. The only caveat with that box set is apparently it was aggressively reframed. It was zoomed, so it looks like it's, you know, 2.35 to 1, but it's really, you know, the proper image, but zoomed in a little bit. So apparently they cut off a bunch of stuff. Bummer. What else we got going? Star Trek movies are okay on Blu-ray, but they look a little DNR. Austin Wilcott was saying, yeah. Special Part 3 and 4 looks mediocre. I need to go finish up. I don't think I watched 4 and 5 yet, but do look pretty decent. And 6 always looked good, because that was one of those ones that Paramount was releasing a bunch of titles in the early 90s that were rumored to be like test THX certification releases, and that was one of them. Apocalypse Now was another, and there was another one too. I think it was one of the Raiders films. Maybe it was Last Crusade. Yeah, so 6 looks really stupid good. I did not expose the secret chat, I swear. I never exposed secret chat. I never exposed what was he, the source of the Sony players, the Muse players. Yeah, Spencer was saying it just passed 800. Yeah, I try and keep my LD collection as crazy as it sounds. I try and keep it a little in like fighting condition, a little trim. I mean, if I had the ultimate space, I would definitely have, I'd be like some of these knuckleheads on LD Forever with, you know, thousands and thousands of discs. But, because, I mean, I love a LaserDisc. I'm not kicking that out of bed. But, but yeah. I know they're a little divisive, but I was wondering what your opinion on rear projection TVs was. You know, growing up as an LD fan, I hated RP TVs because I used to see them on the floors, and I would see them over at friends' houses, and they always had bad convergence, and they looked really soft, and the video noise always looked horrendous. And even when I would see LDs on them, like there'd be like T2 always playing at like a Bernie's or a Crazy Eddie or something like that, and it just always looked pretty weak sauce, especially compared with a direct view CRT. But then I bit the bullet in 99. I got a Sony 43-inch RP TV before widescreen was really big, so it was 4:3, and that was also the same year I got DVD, and DVD looked pretty good on it. It had composite inputs, so I got a progressive scan player. I hooked up the composite inputs, and I really liked the hell out of it. I mean, you could see the scan lines. I used to sit close as shit to that, but you could see the scan lines. I know my dad complained about that a bit, but I immediately and I had decent light control in my room, and I tweaked the picture, and I really did not miss my direct view CRT at all when I watched it. LaserDisc, you could see a lot of video noise, so you had to kind of sit back a little bit farther than I could sit watching DVD. Before it looked, once I did, it looked pretty good. In fact, I had it up here in this room for the longest time. In fact, my last room tour of this room has I think I was playing like Eraser or something on the RPTV. And then I was going to give it to another LaserDisc enthusiast, because there was a period me and LaserDisc Home Theater were like really excited about watching anime LaserDiscs on it all the time. So I'm like, cool. There's like a newfound appreciation for RPTVs, and I'll give it away. And then my dad dropped it on the steps while we were trying to bring it downstairs, so everything shattered. that was the end of it. So I had to take it to the transfer station and dump it, unfortunately, which is a bummer because I really like that thing, and I always tried to keep the guns nice and clean, and always made sure it had like auto convergence, which was way cool. I love that thing. The only bummer about it is it had a very similar to CLV smear, which is a smearing issue on a lot of Pioneer LaserDisc players, only on CLV discs, strangely, where if you have a bright white spot, it'll smear to the the right of the image, and that Sony TV would actually have smear on like bright images. So if you had a lot of text or something, it would have this smear. So it was kind of easy to overlook once you tuned your mind to look past it, but it was kind of annoying. That was the only thing I didn't like about it. The other thing I loved about it was big, but it was small enough that I could put Velcro strips on the top and bottom, and I made custom black cardboard mats. So I would actually hard mat my 2.35 to 1 films, and sometimes my 1.85 to 1 films too, and it really made the image pop because the black letterbox bars can only get so black, especially when you're projecting. So if you throw those matte bars on there, it really makes the image pop out more. Spencer was also saying Trek original series movies are best on LD, so yeah, I'm totally cool with my my Trek collection. I just reorganized my LD, so I had to like put in like this much discs, like reintegrate in there, and I've got still a genre specific collection series bunch of videos I need to get out. But yeah, anyways, SF Marine was saying, do you suggest LDDB for logging your LD collection? Absolutely, it's a great site. It's a great source. You can track your stuff. You can add in multiple versions of your discs. We were just talking about it today. You can sort your collection and view it by like when you bought it, or what type of film it is, or what if it belongs to the Criterion collection, etc. Pardon me. But yeah, Film Aficionado, unfortunately, it does have an option for like collecting, viewing films. It has like films on there. But yeah, it has DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks. But yeah, it doesn't have LDs. So yeah, I highly recommend the LDDB. It's a good source. There's still some titles that are missing, and there's still some images that need to be added, but it's pretty comprehensive. It's a good spot. It's a great spot for hunting down titles you're like, did that ever come out on LaserDisc or whatever? So it's fun for that, but it's really good for logging in your collection. Then you can export it if you want to. It's awesome for keeping track of your stuff. So yeah, way cool. What else we got going on here? Man, let's see, coming down. I'm getting closer to you guys. Weebrat was saying it's going to be studying in Osaka, Japan for the next business program. Looking forward to 5 months of LD hunting. Yeah, I got a couple friends that are LD collectors, and apparently there's some, depending on where you are. Hard off stores, of course, have quite a few of them. And there's a lot of junk lots of LDs out there. And there's even the tales of some of the guys on LaserDisc Forever that have shown pictures of them dropping off, boxes at the docks to just get rid of them. So yeah, there's still some stuff out there, and hopefully you find some good stuff. What else is going on? Lackluster transfers DNR. I was still talking about Star Trek. AC3 Alien is super cheap, better than the box, and essential for the audio. Yeah, I've got a problem with buying Alien's one of those things that I buy over and over again. I bought the CAB box set. I never bought the old like pan and scan version. So yeah, but I bought the CAB box set of Alien and Aliens, and then I got the the THX AC3 reissue of Alien. I need Aliens. I got the 99 from Amazon. I bought the Alien Legacy box, which was like black and it had some kind of silver embossed alien action on there. I had that, which was pretty cool. I had a VHS collection also, which had aliens, and then the like kind of EPK for Alien 3. I think I got that from like a version of BJ's, like Sam's Club or something like that. But oh no, it wasn't Sam's Club, it was Pace Warehouse. That was it back in the day. So I had that, and then of course I had to buy the Quadrilogy DVD set when that came out, and then I also picked up the Alien Anthology Blu-ray to replace my quadrilogy DVD, and because I had the Wreckage and Rage Alien 3, like the long cut of that documentary. And then one of my discs was playing back. I think the Alien 3 film itself was having some playback issues, so I also bought I think it's also called the Alien Quadrilogy set from Best Buy, which is just the movie discs alone. It was super cheap, and it still has all the mother mode special features on them, so it doesn't have like the bonus disc stuff, but it's got a lot of good stuff on there. So I got that just in case. So I could still keep my anthology box, and I've got the quadrilogy one right next to it. What else we got going on here? So yeah, the Alien Blu-rays. Yeah, I gotta watch those. I've only watched the Alien 3 one so far, and I watched of course the producer's cut right away, which has like a mix of AV quality, but still sounds pretty good. Man, I used to love playing the intro to Alien 3 on just the PCM version, like my old like Technodisc Fox pressing that had a little bit of rot. That opening sounds so killer. It's just nothing but like Elliot Goldenthal's really experimental music mixed with cool ass sound effects, and then when you get in the 5.1, it's even cooler. So yeah, I loved hearing that on the Blu-ray. Wake Up at the End of the Matrix is one of the best uses of the song. If I'm right, you just get so freaking pumped when that comes on. Rage Against the Machine, yeah, man. Still dig it. It was great, and I still got pumped up seeing that flick again in the theaters. Subliminal Vibes coming in from Australia. Whoa, what's on the? Oh, is it really Anime Day? Oh crap! I gotta get cracking. I gotta watch something for Anime Day. I'm going on the radio tomorrow to review Us, which I saw. Finally got around to seeing this week. The new Jordan Peele movie, which is really, really good, and it was cool because he kind of pulled a M. Night Shyamalan, because Jordan Peele's already become like an instant sensation, a la M. Night Shyamalan when Sixth Sense dropped. But Get Out was actually his legitimate, first film. I guess Keanu doesn't count because I don't think he directed that. But whereas Shyamalan had actually done quite a few films before The Sixth Sense, but by the time Unbreakable came out, like it was already like an event, like you had to see the new Shyamalan film. So just like you had to see the new Jordan Peele film, even though he only had one film under his belt. And there was a lot of direct comparisons, so that's kind of all everyone was going in this with that mindset. Like you got to compare it to Get Out, and it's so differently structured. I mean, it even shows you like the kind of home invasion aspect of the film in the trailers, whereas Get Out was all about this kind of Rosemary's Baby-esque, Stepford Wives-esque, like twisting of the screw and driving up ratcheting tension and allowing you to kind of simmer in this paranoia. And this film is very different. Like there's a little bit of paranoia, but you realize, yeah, you should be paranoid because stuff's going down, and you knew it was going to go down because you saw it in the trailer, but stuff happens pretty fast early on. But the other cool thing is, like, as a film buff, we're in this cool period now where there's like the Room 237 crowd, like the people that have been decoding cinema are now filmmakers. So you've got someone like Jordan Peele that has been decoding and loving the detail laid into like Stanley Kubrick films. So now he himself is going to want to add that to his film so that other film buffs will have that, excitement. Like the movie starts and it's in Santa Cruz and it says like 1986, and I'm like, that means one thing. And then like, I know he knows, and he knows I know, it's Lost Boys, baby. And sure enough, like there's a family walking down the boardwalks from Lost Boys, Santa Clara, murder capital of the world. And all of a sudden, like the mom goes, "Oh, they're shooting a movie over at the carousel." So yeah, within the context of Us, Joel Schumacher is shooting David and the Vampire Pack at the carousel as the beginning of Us is happening. And I'm like, yeah. And there's even a shot like right off that kind of sets up the kind of political twist of the movie, and kind of where it's coming from, and it's a television with all these videotapes, and you, right away, like any kind of like semiotician is just staring at all the videotape spines and trying to figure out what's on the shelf and if it was time accurate, etc. So it is just a treat on that level, but then it's really intricately written, and it's something with a thick mythology that damn well he thought through, and has like a huge. He's kind of like a Luc Besson in that case, like where Fifth Element was a world that he actually created. Us has a similar thick backstory that he knows the history of, and he knows what's going on, but it's really about the focus of these main characters. So there's a lot happening outside of their view. So there easily could be like other movies in the series or something. So I think, yeah, he pulled a Shyamalan where people were expecting Sixth Sense Part 2, and then Unbreakable was like a little bit different, a little bit like more expansive in terms of its its themes and mythology. And this film is definitely, it's very not Get Out Part 2. So I think that's going to throw a lot of people for a curve. But really dying to see it again, because it's of course one of those things that as you learn more about it, you start looking at certain aspects of it differently. So watching it a second time will be pretty cool. So yeah, anyways, I got to go on the radio tomorrow to talk about that. So I was going to watch, I finally took the plunge on getting Shudder for a little bit, because I wanted to see the horror noir documentary they released recently about blacks in horror cinema, and being treated as horrible victims in the beginning, and then working their way up to the actual heroes of horror films. And Jordan Peele's in there, and I think I saw Keith David in there in the trailer, and Tony Todd, Hartford guy. So much respect for Tony Todd, the Candyman himself. And I'm dying to check that out. So I was going to watch that tonight, and then I also have an assignment to watch the Amy Schumer comedy special on Netflix. So I was going to do that. So then, maybe I can watch some anime stuff after that. So I was going to watch that tonight, but depending on what time we get done here, I can watch one of those and then knock off, and then hopefully wake up early. I took the day off from work tomorrow, so I'm going to watch something in the morning, and then I'll fit in some anime, I swear. I swear I'm going to do something. What else we got going on here? Oh, Clone Trooper said, been to the archive many a times, awesome place. Yeah, I had a really good time hanging out there for a little bit. I wish I'd hung out even longer. It's one of those things where there's just so much to dig through. The basement has unsorted vinyl, just boxes and boxes and boxes. And I know I could have found some cool nuggets if I had the time to really sit down there and thumb through things. And like I mentioned last week, I did want to check out the CDs they had for $2, but there was somebody already looking through them, and I know they were taking their time really looking through all the spines and stuff. So I figured I'd just step out, and I had enough stuff upstairs that I was gonna blow my money on. But it was cool, and I know they've been hitting the kind of saturation point with incoming stuff, so they might not be able to buy your trade-ins right about now, but they'll still look at anything you want to bring in, which is super cool, even if they end up not buying it. But yeah, awesome place. So if you're ever down in Bridgeport, Connecticut, stop by the archive and say hi to the Vinegar Syndrome crew. I know James travels to a lot of conventions, so he might not be there, but there's always some cool guys behind the counter, always willing to talk to you. And if you want to know about any of the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-rays too, it's great. They'll give you like a kind of personalized tour of all the films. They'll recommend things for you and tell you the history behind it, and yeah, it's super cool. Like the first time I went down there, James was talking about how the director of Psychos in Love actually donated his LaserDisc collection to them, so I bought like his LaserDisc copy of Tenebrae and The Funeral, etc. So yeah, it was super cool. Any Japanese LDs you're looking forward to getting? Oh, that was going to Weebrat. Yeah, there's some Japanese LDs I'm looking forward to getting, but I gotta get on the stick. Even some comments too. There's a lot of comments I don't have. I don't have like I always want to get the Bram Stoker's Dracula Japanese LD because it has the alternate artwork on it for the poster artwork, and I always want to get just for that. So I want to get like a minty copy of that, and I still need to get some more anime stuff and a lot of music stuff I want to get too. So there's a bit of a, and assuming there is a GoldenEye rental disc, I want it. I don't know if it actually exists though. I've never seen a picture of it. We'll see. LaserDisc Home Theater, Tecmo don't know LD, right? Yeah, but of course, yeah. to a lot of people just encountering it for the first time, it seems like he's got it all worked out. But it is funny too about how some people are into. I was just thinking recently about some people are into audio, some people are into video, and sometimes people aren't into. Oh, I just saw Will Wright the Third was in. Nice, saying he loved the Abyss THX box set. Wish it was DTS. Yeah, I do have the AC3 ratio, but it would be cool to have the Abyss in DTS for sure. But yeah, I was saying sometimes someone's into audio, sometimes someone's into video, but sometimes they're not into the other. Like I was watching like Andy Summers, who's a bit notorious for being a character in some of the forums, but I mean he's generally like extremely knowledgeable film enthusiast. I mean he's got some medical issues that causes some problems within the forums or whatever. But I mean he's basically got a cinema sound surround sound system in his house. Like he's got full on major JBL speakers and subwoofers and stuff. I mean, I don't know what kind of flat he's living in, but I'm sure his neighbors love him. But I mean, I see he's putting in a ton of acoustical, baffling, etc. But I mean, he's got like, he's got some home theater AVRs and stuff like that. But he's got like actual Dolby processors, and I think he's got some DTS stuff, and he's got the stuff that was used in film theaters. And he's always upgrading his system, and it's crazy. But I've noticed like when he watches, like he's got like a small-ish flat screen, 16:9, but it's dwarfed by the massive speaker system he's got. When like the room he's in, definitely screams for a big screen, an actual like drop-down projection screen. And it's amazing that he doesn't have that, because like it's all audio. And then he's got the small TV, and then when he's watching LaserDisc, it's usually not zoomed for 16:9. It's stretched like if you're on LaserDisc Forever page, you always know about the aspect ratio police. I'm definitely going to do a video on that as well at some point too. But so you could kind of tell that for the video, it's that's good. It's good enough for him. And yeah, I had a period too when I had like my first tower speakers and everything like that, and I had all this audio going on, but I had like a 19-inch Toshiba TV, and I was like, yeah, it's cool. And everyone's like, well, yeah, you should get a bigger TV. And I'm like, what do you mean a bigger TV? And it's like all this sound stage, and then this tiny TV. So it's just funny how that goes. And then I know LaserDisc Home Theater was saying he wasn't really as much of an audiophile, and he did get into, I think he's got a full Dolby Atmos system now. But all the AV nerds, especially on the audio side, were saying, of course you have to get separates, and you have to get these boutique amplifiers and stuff. And he got this one, and he's like, yeah, whatever, it sounds just as good as the AV AVR I had before was, but I'll get it. But I was just thinking about that, about how it's either or with a lot of people, and it's nice if you can balance that. All right, what else is going on? Oh, Vincent finally snuck in. I totally missed him. Shout out to Moikey Achieved, right? Man, I'm behind again. All right, let me get back up top. Let's see. Oh, Spencer was talking about the Blu-ray seemed to be pretty good. Charlie D. Lazarica, however you pronounce his name. Yeah, he's always doing the Ridley Scott films and seems to know what he's doing. Skytrap ASMR was saying trying to cover more on LD channel, but just getting time to review it and cover it more. Yeah, for sure. Time is of the essence. Alien 4K coming out next month. Yeah, I did see it. Yeah, and it is cheap on Amazon, $15. I did see that listed. I didn't get a double dip and get the Alien like whatever anniversary Blu-ray that came out, even though I had that pretty cool packaging. But yeah, I might dip into the 4K. We'll see. Out of the LaserDisc YouTube Mafia, you and Out of the Archive are the two that resonate in my mind. Oh, thank you very much. Very cool to hear. Oh, Melinda was saying if you're doing YouTube content, please tell us so we can sub. Yeah, like I was saying before, like I try to like every day or every week at least search and scour YouTube for other LaserDisc content, and there's been some lately, but it's always a bummer when it's just like either somebody just selling discs or there's no audio. It's just like a flip through of discs you're selling or something. So So yeah, it's always cool when it's like a collection video or something like that. So I'm always looking for more LD content. So yeah, spread the word. Join LaserDisc Forever on Facebook and pimp yourself for sure. And I will watch your stuff. Do you prefer to watch older TV shows like Star Trek TOS, TNG, Twin Peaks, X-Files, and LD, or the new remastered Blu-rays? It depends on the show. Like, I had pretty much I had all the X-Files LDs, but I sold those to my buddy Chris, and I still have the movie. Fight the future, gotta fight the future. But then I started to collect the DVDs, but they were pretty expensive for the seasons, and then we ended up the streaming services started to carry them, so we ended up binging X-Files streaming, and then shortly thereafter the Blu-rays came out. And I know they're a little bit controversial because Chris Carter and crew said that they framed safe for cropping to 16:9. A lot of the interstitial bits are, zoomed and very rough looking, like title card scenes when they change, locations, etc. So those look a little iffy, but and then some people have said that regardless of their claims that they framed for 16:9 because they knew that HD was around the corner and that their shows would be syndicated in 16:9 eventually, they'd be prepared, even though it was back in 1993. Some people are saying that the first couple seasons are still too tight when they're framed for 16:9, and it's an abomination, and you need the older 4:3 versions. I taped them all off the air for the first probably 3 years or so I probably still have my old tapes if I need to reference those. So even though it was cool having the laser discs, they took up a lot of space for sure because it was just 2 episodes per disc. And I never liked that they were all kind of scattered. That like I love kind of complete collections, but then I saw Moiki's collection of of the full Japanese box sets, and we were in the midst of a mission to kind of ferry some of those my way. I was going to buy a bunch off of them, and then I realized just how many of them there were. It's like season 1 part 5, season 1 part. It wasn't that bad, but I was like, dear God, like. And it wasn't complete, obviously, because X-Files kept running, till I think the LDs only go up to season 7 or so. So there's nothing for season 8 or season 9. So I'm like, it's going to be a huge pile of space, and then not complete on top of it. So I'm like, I'm calling it. So that's it. I am pretty cool with my X-Files Blu-rays. There was also the issue with season 8 being too dark and having a black crush, so you had to write in for the replacement discs for that. But those 9 little slim cases are beautiful looking. I got them all for $12 each at BJ's, and only took me a couple weeks, but they were only stocking a few of them at a time. But yeah, it only took me a little while before I was able to snag them all. So they were, all in all, it was just a little bit over $100 or so to get them all. I've since been picking them out. I still don't have season 10, but I have season 11. So yeah, I'm pretty cool with watching X-Files on Blu-ray, actually. Twin Peaks, I have not bought. I only have the pilot on LD. I never did get around to buying the US or Japanese box sets. I will get the Japanese box sets in a heartbeat when I get a chance. But then I bought the DVD domestically of season 1 that was missing the pilot as aired, and then I imported the Korean DVD which had the pilot as aired. And then I got the DVD set of season 2, and then immediately they came out with the gold box version, and I was like, thank you. So I never got the gold box version, but then I did get the pretty sick Blu-ray collection, which is a beast, even though it does have lip sync issues depending on what player you're watching on and depending on the episodes or the special features. But yeah, I'm pretty cool with that. So I don't mind watching Twin Peaks on either the Blu-ray or the DVDs. And Star Trek, I actually been, again, that's box set city if I'm talking LaserDiscs. I haven't pulled the trigger on those on physical media. I just stream those, which is makes me a bad person. I did pretty much tape all of them on tape, so I probably have VHS copies from off the air. And actually, I do have the LDs of the original series at work. I forgot about that. Peter hooked me up with those, so shout out to Peter. Yeah, so I'll watch the original series on LaserDisc or original series or next gen on streaming. So it's one of those cases where I'll stream. But like The Prisoner, I've got some on LD. I'm pretty cool with the Blu-ray. I taped all those on VHS too, so I have that option if I want to. But I bought that like kind of clamshell Blu-ray case AMC came out with. I guess it depends on the title. Am I looking forward to RoboCop coming from Arrow Video? Yes, I am definitely looking forward to that. And yeah, it's be interested if it's unrated, if it's in 1.66:1. I mean, that's one of those other ones. I haven't moved past my Criterion LD. That's always been my go-to copy of RoboCop. I never bothered to get the Criterion DVD, and I haven't picked up any of the ones on Blu-ray other than the remake. So I'm psyched for that. I'm glad Arrow's actually taking that on. Let's see. What's going on? Spencer's saying he said they're going to wait forever, even longer than James Cameron to release Star Wars on Blu-ray. All right, you're putting your money on that, so we're gonna I don't know, put like $3 or something on it. Whoever wins owes the other one $3. What else is going out? The Quasar, yes, sweet love to the Quasar LD700. If you haven't seen my video, go back and check out some of my older LaserDisc player update videos, but I show it in there. But the Panasonic, and yes, Spencer was mentioning Panasonic LX900 posse, the Panny posse. Panasonic's LX900 was rebranded a few ways, but one of them was a Quasar machine. And the only other Quasars were like rebrands of mediocre Panasonic players, but the LD700 was a rebrand of the LX900, but it also fixed the automatic gain control issue that plagued some LX, like earlier, like mid 94 and before LX900s, where depending on what you're watching it on as well, the black levels could be inconsistent and waver depending on the scene. And then there's also the issue of the right side of the screen losing a bunch of image, which LaserDisc Home Theater has been able to confirm watching stuff on his system. So yeah, they actually fixed that on the Quasar, and word has it that MSB, who was the the masterminds of a lot of the boutique players, would actually use Quasar LD700 sometimes, and some of the boutique players like the Runco LJR2. So it might not always be a Panasonic inside. You never know. But the word on the street is they like rolled into actual like brick and mortar stores and bought boxes and boxes of Quasar players off the shelves and just have them stashed around somewhere. So very cool. Let's see. Austin was saying bought the first 3 Alien films in a lot for $6. The first 2 of the crappy full screen CBS Fox releases. Alien 3 is widescreen. Yeah, Alien 3 is my LaserDisc is Technodisc, so it's not the best quality, but I love that thing. Yeah, Film Nerd Corey, or Film Kurt Nori, is in the house. Yeah, Sony MDP333. Nice, represent. And hello again to Will Wright. Thanks for joining in. Christian Hanahor is in the house. Damn, yeah, live again, man. Trying to pick up the slack. I know you definitely leading by example, so I got to get out there and do some more live stuff. So I'm trying once a week for sure. What else we got going on? Oh, Will Wright, some HD projection sets were insanely good picture-wise. Yeah, for sure. What else we got going on here? Light bulb films. Yep, wanted to know what topics. What did you miss topic-wise? Well, I talked about seeing The Matrix 20th anniversary in the cinemas. I talked about seeing Us in the cinemas this week, and then I showed my newest Big Lots update of Blu-rays and just general LD shenanigans. Low angle, Sam. Oh, hopefully my angle's good. My public view never... Oh, yeah, I am pretty, like... Rah. Sorry about that. And, yeah, I didn't even get a chance to, like, properly frame my stuff. Here, I'll move this over here a little bit so you can see maybe my poster or what have you. So you can see a little bit of my Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust poster. My delay is pretty hardcore, though. I'll drink some water while I wait for it to catch up. Hopefully the stream's been pretty good. I guess I will not trust YouTube's bad thing. What did they say I'm at now? I'll get back to the comments in a hot second. Oh, now it says good. All right, cool. Whatever. As long as it's working relatively good. Here I go. Let's see if my angle worked out okay. Yeah, sorry about that light that was buzzing over there. All right, that should be a little bit better. Yeah, like I said, I got out of work at 8 o'clock and rushed right here and did not have any time to prepare. So I'm actually amazed I was able to get up and running by like 9:05. What else we got going on here? Machu Wumiyapu said he got the ID4 Special Edition. Yeah, I still don't have the Japanese box. I gotta get that. I need to get a lot of Japanese boxes. I don't have like the Japanese Men in Black box. I don't have the ID4 box. Yeah, gotta pick that up. Oh man, hate this thing. It always goes too far. Oh, good. Everyone was letting Vincent know what he missed. Thanks, Melinda. Yeah, Arrow does put out a lot of versions on their stuff. I mean, case in point, that new Waterworld disc. It's like, you know, every version they have, you know, is on there, and I appreciate it. And I had a blast watching, you know, all the different versions of, you know, Deep Red recently, and I don't know, blast isn't the word maybe for Last House on the Left, but it was interesting watching all the different cuts. Yeah, I appreciate having all that stuff at my beck and call. Oh, yeah, Vincent was saying LDDB came in handy for shopping in the wild. One to stop me from buying a disc I already had, and one to stop me from buying an open mat disc. Nice. Yeah, that's the other cool thing about LDDB. It's like, you know, you can look up those things on the fly on your phone. Oh, yeah, I got to do my genre list. We'll do that in a second because I think I'm almost caught up. I can't have enough ID4 LDs, right? Yeah, I still don't have that DTS LD either. Let's see. Oh, yeah, SM Marine was saying, can you explain the T2 LD editions? There's a gold, silver one, and another color. Yeah, the first edition, there's, you know, the gold and silver. I think I have... Which one? I think I have the gold one. Do I? Where is it? D2. What, the gold one? Let's find out. Yeah, I got the gold one. So the biggest pressing was the original silver version. And I used to know offhand how many pressings that was. It was a decent amount. But then they repressed it. And I gotta wait to put it up. But they repressed it with the gold version. And then there's also a bluish one. And then there's a coppery reddish one that, depending on how it photographs, confuses people all the time. So there were... Oh, sorry, I bumped you guys. There were rumors about there being two different, like a red one and a copper one, but there's really just the four different colors. It's all the same thing. It's all the same pressing material inside. Some may or may not have like a little bit different extra, like errata piece of paper that they threw in some. They probably all have that. But yeah, they're all essentially the same. Technically, there were probably less pressings of the later ones, like the blue ones and the red ones, but they aren't inherently considered rare, even though they've got to have far less pressed than the silver ones, because there was, probably, I wish I could remember how many there was offhand, but yeah, I'll get that. I'll get the whole history of the T2 thing going, because I gotta, after I do the definitive collection, that's the next box that I gotta tackle. But yeah, so technically they are fewer pressings, but it's like me and Christian Hannah Horror were talking about when we picked up the Evil Dead Red Edition. They had to release a silver disc version because not all players, especially the old Helium Neon players, couldn't read the red disc, and so even though it was like a relatively small amount of players that couldn't play them, they did release a silver one for the people that didn't. And we're saying technically the silver variant has got to be way rarer than the actual blood red disc, which is, the collector's dream. But nobody charges more for the silver variant, even though it's rare. Which is funny when you look on the LDDB and you look at your unique titles. The rarest discs out there are the ones that nobody really cares about. You know, it's a weird like instructional LDs, or like I've got like an alternate pressing of basketball diaries that nobody cares about. So that is kind of interesting on that front, like, you know, what's rare and what's rare and expensive. So yeah, so those late release T2 boxes, you know, they still go for about the same amount of money. So yeah, so it just means they were pressed later. So you got closer to a late release if you got one of those red or blue ones. But yeah, there's a lot of silver and gold ones out there. So yeah, I got the second pressing. But yeah, there's tons of them. Tons and tons and tons of them out there. So you can probably still get a sealed one if you look around, and you can probably get it pretty cheap. Oh yeah, talking about DTS LDs being 3 decibels too hot. Yeah. At least supposedly the first couple of years worth of DTS LD titles had this around 3 dB too hot. So it would be nice to have an actual like concise listing of which ones are affected by that. What else we got going on here? Moving down. Yeah, Zamir, the black bar is really popping, and that film has nice inky blacks. Yeah, and you know, I like, it's every once in a while, you know, I get one of those films that on Blu-ray or whatever that's, yeah, it's transferred a little darker than usual, and I don't want to lose shadow detail or something, but if it's a little darker, yeah, it's everything kind of pops a little bit more, so it does make the colors pop a little bit too. We were talking too about how a lot of people don't realize the difference between the IRE levels between a lot of Japanese LaserDiscs, which are IRE 0, and then United States domestic discs, which are IRE 7.5. So if you watch a Japanese LaserDisc on, you know, regular American player, they're both NTSC, but the Japanese disc is going to be way darker, but then also the colors are going to appear to be a lot richer and more vibrant, but you're not going to see as much in the you know, details and the dark blacks and everything like that. And then Moiki was like, what are you guys, crazy? Because we were talking about it. We're like, yeah, you didn't know about that? And it turned into a big thing. But luckily, if you do have your LD player running through a video processor, like my DVDO has the option for you to adjust the inputs and the outputs from like regular video to like PC level. And PC level is the same as the 0 IRE. So you can adjust it on the fly. Because it's not just the case of like changing the brightness level up and down, though that'll get you, you know, 3/4 of the way there. But it's nice to be able to adjust it a little bit easier, so you can watch your Japanese LDs on an American set and have it, you know, look pretty good. But yeah, I like dark transfers. Yeah. I like dark transfers, and I cannot lie. But yeah, the Abyss box set, that thing was amazing. I remember seeing a still of the scene with the wave like hovering over the cities in a magazine. Might have been like Wired magazine or something like that, and it was one of those images I was obsessed with, that and the image from the original ending Army of Darkness, which led me, I still don't have that stupid bootleg from Taiwan or whatever on LD. I need to get that. But yeah, those images were like I need to have that. And even when the Abyss set came out, it took me a little while to pony up for it, but I picked it up at Lechmere, which was a Boston-based store that ended up spreading out throughout New England, but it was a department store that had a bit of everything and had a pretty big AV section. And they had the Abyss there for $100. And I'm like, I'm young. I got no reason to save this money for anything important, like you know, rent or food or anything like that. So let's go ahead and buy it. And I did, and holy crap, yeah, I love that thing. I loved the documentary. Yeah, Under Pressure. Just watched that thing so many times. You know, all the still feature special edition bits and the text and everything like that. I watched the hell out of the box set. So great stuff. What else we got? Love the ending of The Matrix. I always say, come on. Pete did not dig Get Out. The script was copy and paste from Skeleton T told in the extremely cliched fashion. No, I actually really dug Get Out. It definitely has similar elements to other stories or whatever, but there was some stuff he really turned on its ear, and his framing was really good, and just the building of tension, the music, I don't know, just so many elements that he injected into the story and had you believing one thing about it and just have it turn it. But it wasn't in a hokey, Saw-esque, I gotcha twist kind of moment either. Yeah, I really liked that. Oh, Vincent saw Us and said it ruled. Yes, it did. It did roll, and it. I think it's one of those movies that people are gonna think about a little bit more after they've seen it. So I'm hoping it's gonna get a lot of repeat business, and I know I'm gonna go check it out again, and I think it's gonna even maybe grow in estimation, because it does not have a. Get Out did have a more satisfying, I guess, like conclusion. It did kind of wrap up its concepts. It maybe left a few things dangling, or left you questioning a few things as to what's going on in the grander sense. But Us really shakes things up, and has you questioning everything, about it, from characters to the grander scheme of things, what's happening within its mythology. So there's a lot to kind of think about and chew on. Pugner just cleaned some VHS tapes and records with mold and dirt. Yeah, man. I was just watching. We were talking about the last time I was watching Monster Movie Apps channel, and he was getting a bunch of tapes with like dead worms and stuff in there. He was cleaning them out. And I've seen some of his videos where he's got like a VHS rewinder, I think he uses, or there's like an old deck he uses, where he just like rigged it to run through the entire tape through like a bunch of like cleaning sponges and material, so you don't have to do it all by hand or whatever like that. And I guess he's had pretty good luck with it. I've got a bunch of VHS tapes I need to rescue from. I've got a like storage unit that sucks ass. It's in the basement, and apparently the landlords that run the place really don't care about it, and they allowed the entire basement to flood and grow mold everywhere. So everything's bagged, but it still doesn't mean that moisture wasn't able to get inside the bags, and I'm dreading the worst. It's not really like my prime VHS tapes. Like everything that I hold near and dear is in the house, but I am kind of like dreading looking in the bag and finding out what's going on there. We'll see. What else is shaking? All right, yeah, so let me I think I'm caught up. Am I down the bottom? Wait, nope, I'm not up. Damn it. Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. As my comments don't load right away, apparently. They just come in like giant chunks. Oh, who's got a hidden comment? Alright. I'm showing it. No hidden comments, damn it. Alright, I'm jumping back up. Alright, I think I'm getting... Man. Sorry if I'm so behind you guys. I think I'm getting caught up, but I'm far behind. What was this? Machiwumi who just bought a Denon AVR. Nice. I've heard some nice... I've had some friends with some nice Denon AVRs. What else we got? Have I ever dealt with slight mildew on covers? Yeah, mostly covers. I've had some where I've had it's usually like I'll have some spots on the inside. Obviously if you deal with like stuff from Japan or Hong Kong, you might get foxing on like obi strips, etc. But mildew on covers, the covers themselves have usually been pretty good on the outside. I've had a couple where they've been exposed to mildew, and they've had a little bit of a scent. So I had a period where I would, like a small amount of them that I bought from lots or whatever, where I would put them out in the sun, and that would help. And then I did, for a while, I had a couple of ones that I put in this contraption I built. I got a big plastic tub, and then I lined the bottom with baking soda. You can also use like charcoal, things like that. And then I had this, I don't know if I still have it, but it was like a rack essentially, but it had like a an edge on either end that raised it up about that far, so it could be seat all the discs above the bed of baking soda down at the bottom. And then I would kind of cut Q-tips and the little kind of pieces and prop them in. It was really kind of extravagant. And I would prop them into the jackets to open up the jackets on the bottom and just kind of pop them in there standing up. And it was pretty huge, so I was able to stand up a ton of them. And then I just sealed the top and just left them in there for like a month. And yeah, it really did a really good job. So I had that, but then yeah, I've had so yeah, that kind of musty smell helped with that. I had one Dandy Zeppelin purchase I got that was like I think it was my Cliffhanger PSE special edition. It came from a smoker's house, and it really smelled like smoke. And I just kind of left that out in the open by itself for a couple weeks, and that really cleared up on its own. But yeah, as far as if I see anything that looks like black mold on the jacket, it's going. And on the inside of the jacket is usually where I've had, things. And I look in there, and I've had to toss some jackets. I'm like, yeah, it's not worth the risk. And then I'll end up just keeping the disc separately. So I do have some actually pretty cool discs that are just without a home, that need a proper jacket, that I wasn't obviously going to throw the disc out because they still work fine and I can still watch them, and eventually I'll upgrade and get a proper, minty copy in the future. But yeah, I have uncovered some stuff, especially in the East Coast. We got a lot of basements around here, and even if people mean well, they're going to end up storing their LDs in the basement, because even if it's a thing that they don't use all the time, the chances are they're going to wind up in a basement. So you have a chance of it getting a bit of a basement smell or a mildew smell. I mean, most of the stuff I've gotten has been pretty good, but seems everything in the Worcester area has all been in the basement, and I've turned away from some things. And I'm like, nope, that's not good. So yeah, so you can get some moldy stuff from flooding, water damage, etc. So good times. Vinny says skip anime. No way, man. I'm gonna watch something anime. I don't know what, but I'm gonna watch something. What else we got going on? I don't have any high vision discs. Punk nerd ass. I need LaserDisc Home Theater might be able to help me solve that issue. Maybe a Sony Muse player would help me, get into the world of the high vision discs and make these YouTubers excited and happy. So yeah, check out LaserDisc Home Theater's channel, and he'll give you a tour of his high vision setup, and has discovered some pretty cool things about how to pair the players correctly with the decoders, because it's a whole world, because you got to buy the player, and then you got to buy the Muse decoder, and then the audio also isn't plug and play, so you need something to properly process the audio. So you're getting into a whole new world, even if you're getting cheap players. There's a lot of stuff you have to do, so it's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm definitely not against it, and I definitely don't need to have a Pioneer HLD XO or an X9 or something like that, so it's not like one of those things. I'm be totally happy with a weird Sony or a Panasonic or something. Also, Wilcott was asking, do I have Nightbreed on LD or VHS? I saw Nightbreed in the theater once or twice, loved it, and picked up the soundtrack on CD, picked up the VHS. And it was when I used to watch the hell out of my VHS tape that I noticed, like, the lip flap from the obvious bits when, he's getting, Boone's getting the directions to Midian, and you could tell, like, wait, the mouth is not matching the dialogue. What is going on here? So that was the first time I realized, wait a second, this must have been cut to hell. So then began the kind of quest for different cuts of Nightbreed and all that stuff. So I sat out Nightbreed on everything else beyond VHS until the Scream Factory release. And of course I failed to get the big box set with the Cabal Cut VHS kind of sourced for the most part version. And I know there's been another Blu-ray released, the Cabal Cut, and I heard there's like yet another version of the Cabal Cut that's being put together that's going to be released. So I'm sure my Nightbreed purchasing future is not over yet. But yeah, I would have gotten the LD, but it's one of those things where it's like, it was VHS Plus. It's like the VHS artwork, the VHS transfer. It's like I already had it on VHS, so it's like one of those things. Like horror, it's funny because horror is like really prolific, not proficient, but amongst LD collectors, and the prices are going up. But I don't feel that the genre was treated as well, and like horror fans are treated amazingly well on DVD and of course VHS is it's so much stuff. But on DVD and Blu-ray, in terms of quality and like attention paid to, you know, special features, like original aspect ratio, and just treating the films well. And it hit LD too late. Like Roan did a great job, Elite did a great job, but like it happened too far in the game. And then a lot of the stuff towards the end was just happening concurrently with DVDs. So it's like, was I gonna, you know, drop a ton of money on Tenebrae, or was I just gonna buy the Anchor Bay DVD? You know, was I gonna drop a lot of money on Tombs of the Blind Dead, or was I gonna buy the Anchor Bay DVD that came with like Revenge of the Blind Dead on the backside? And I really fell in love with horror on DVD, and so I missed out on buying a lot of horror on LaserDisc at that point when it was really being treated well. And now, of course, the prices are, and if it's Lucio Fulci related, you know, cancel all your plans. So yeah, so Nightbreed was unfortunately a casualty of that, you know, bias that I had against like VHS transfers just ported over to LD. And then, of course, you know, there was always the risk of it being an image release and pressed by 3M and rotting and all that stuff. So whatever. But I mean, had there been like a Nightbreed, like what Lords of Illusions on LaserDisc is like top 5, one of my favorite LaserDiscs of all time. That Lord of Illusions gatefold is just, it's like a box set like of awesomeness crammed into a 2-disc gatefold. I just freaked out when I got that thing. I watched the movie, I loved it, and just the kind of relief tarot imagery on the cover and everything about it. I freaking love that. So if there had been like a Nightbreed version on LD that had been given that treatment with like a sick gatefold or something, or even just single disc with a beautiful cover, you know for sure I would be owning that, because of course I got Hellraiser on LD and I got Lord of Illusions. I'd definitely be having some Nightbreed on LaserDisc. So yeah, so that was a long story short. That was the Nightbreed story. What will a GoldenEye rental disc have? Yeah, it's just from collectability. In Japan, they released a bunch of films. The letterboxed 007 discs, they released them all the way up to GoldenEye in a rental disc. And for some reason, they made the rental discs gold, and they took away like chapter encoding and all that stuff. But they're really cool, and they look great, and they've got like this rental thing stamped on the jacket. They're just really fun to collect, and the gold discs look amazing, and the transfers are just as good. So yeah, I was on the quest. I don't know if you've seen some of my older videos, but I've got you know, pretty much all of the NTSC 007 Laserdisc. That includes like different pressings. So every Japanese version of a 007 film I have, except for supposedly on the Laserdisc database, there's a rental version of GoldenEye, but I've never seen it. And I've never seen anybody else that has it, so I don't know if it exists. I've had Kevin Kobos, the Good Squid, looking for a copy for me for years, and he found me The World Is Not Enough within like a week or two. And then I said I wanted to get into the rental disc thing, and he found me almost all of those within like 2 days. And even the hard to find ones he found for me pretty quickly. So the fact that he hasn't found a GoldenEye for me makes me think it doesn't exist. But do I have a 7.1 sound set up? Not yet. I do not. I do have a 7.1 capable receiver. I'm so far behind it. I've been meaning to do a gear upgrade video, because in my last room tour video, my system is pretty much all revamped, all that stuff. But I've got a Rotel AVR, but it was from the period when they were like adding in 7.1, but they didn't go the distance as to throw in the actual amplifiers for those extra 2 channels. So I have 7.1 processing. I just need the bonus stereo amplification, which is easy enough to do. But I just haven't gotten around to getting those speakers. I want to get new surrounds, and like once I get something in my head, I got to get it a certain way. So I've got like DefTech stuff now, but I want to get older Definitive Technology BP2X's bipolar surrounds, but I want to get the white ones because they'll match my kind of rear of my viewing area, and those are a little bit harder to find. I just lost some on eBay. They were a little bit beat up, but with some touch-up paint, I probably could have made a go of them. So sadly, I just missed out on those suckers. So if I can get 4 of those bad boys, or I might even go like BP 1.2X's or something for the 6th and 7th channel, I'll do that, and I'll grab an external amp. But then the other thing is, I'm actually thinking about jumping right into a Rotel RSP 1069, which is one I've heard a lot. I love Rotel, and I'm pretty much like Rotel for life when it comes to like my audio gear. But I've heard a lot of the newer ones that have the newer formats have issues with DTS bombs, where like your DTS track will suddenly turn into like blaring static. And I've heard they've also had some like sync issues, etc. So as much as I'd love to get one of the newer AVRs, they haven't even implemented Atmos or anything like that. So you always have to wait a while for Rotel to catch up, which I'm cool with. I'm always behind the curve. I'm always well behind the curve. But I want to get RSP 1069 because it will accept DTS HD master audio over HDMI if it's already transcoded then to PCM. So that's cool. I can do that. Have it coded to PCM, and I can take the multi-channel PCM and take that. So I'm thinking I'll just get that and RMB. Was it 77 or is it 170? 1077 RMB 1077, which is a Class D 7-channel amp, and of course it's Class D, so it's like really thin, but apparently it sounds really good. It's one of the best like Class D amps around. So it'll be a little bit of a space saver, won't generate too much heat and all that stuff. So I'm thinking about getting that. There's all 7 channels right then and there. So I might get that first and just hook that up to my 7.1 surround AVR that I have now, and just get that amp, and then work my way up to the new processor. And then I'll be like caught up with, I don't know, probably 5 to 10 years in the past. But cool, man. I'm getting there. Oh yeah, Spencer was talking about Andy. He has all the amazing setup and gear. Oh, I lost it. Where'd it go? And then he goes into the litter box land. Yeah, I still keep up with this stuff, and yeah, I know he's had issues and stuff. I know he's bipolar, and he has some major kind of moments where he just can't deal, and he has just like a hard time communicating and everything like that. So I feel bad for the dude because he's like so into cinema and everything like that, and I know like the thing he loves also causes him pain because he gets like freaked out by certain things that he doesn't like about modern sound mixes, like near field sound mixes and some Atmos things and stuff like that. And I know it really kind of like gives him mental anguish sometimes. But Andy's channel is it's just Andy Summers, Summers. But you're also going to get a lot of Andy Summers from the Police when you search that. So maybe like if you do like a search for like Andy Summers Dolby or something like that, you're definitely going to get him, because he's got so much like Dolby gear and stuff like that, and you'll find it. So yeah, you gotta kind of search through, because not all of it's like about his gear. Like there's a lot of stuff about his cats and stuff, because like cats kind of help him keep sane, and he's got a lot of videos where he has these kind of outbreaks where he's throwing his videos in the litter box. So yeah, that's kind of become this thing in the LaserDisc community, because people that kind of didn't know what his situation was, like just saw these kind of these episodes he was having, and just like, what the hell is going on here? So yeah, there's a lot of videos with him having these episodes and throwing out his videos in cat boxes and stuff like that. But man, you guys check out some of his gear videos. He's got some killer gear. You can never escape the AR police. Damn straight. They're always looking out for you. I got to do an AR police video. Somebody missed out on the... Oh, SF Marine missed out on the Director's Cut Nightbreed from Shot Factory. Yeah, it does go for some big bucks. The other Shot Factory that goes for big bucks that I didn't get was the Vincent Price Collection 1. And I saw a copy recently for under $200. And I did think about it for a second. Just because I have Vincent Price Collection 2 and 3... I could easily get those films. I could get like the Arrow versions or something from overseas or whatever. But I got 2 and I got 3. I need 1. But yeah, what else is going on here? Oh, watching some previews. Yeah, there's been some pretty good previews lately. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was pretty fun. I actually saw that in the theaters too, before us, which was a trip. Looking forward to that a lot. Killer cast. It's cool too that, like, I know some of the concept of what he's going on, and dealing with the Manson family and Sharon Tate and everything like that. But yeah, I still don't know what he's going to do. But hot damn, man. What's his name? Is it Mike Moe? The guy playing Bruce Lee just did an amazing job. Like, he looks like Bruce Lee with the glasses on and everything, but he's got the voice just right. It was really good stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Strictly Sega was saying, grew up with my dad and he had a tiny TV and a huge speaker setup, and it taught me that it's the sound that makes a movie huge more than the screen. Yeah, that was the first thing I focused on. It was the sound, and I went from a 19-inch TV to a 27-inch TV, and that seemed huge. I remember I rented Misery on LaserDisc, and I watched it, and there's a scene where the rolling pin comes at the camera, like, early on, and I was like, holy cow! It was like I was in an IMAX theater, not a 27-inch Magnavox, like, across the room from me, but it seemed huge. And then I worked from that to I think I skipped right over, like, the kind of 30, there was a lot of 30-something inch direct view TVs at the time. I jumped right over that to a 43-inch RP TV, and then I jumped from that to a Sony projector, and then I've been in projector land ever since. And I do have this flat screen 4K right next to me. But but yeah, I was sound first. I remember watching Contact. Sadly, it was on it wasn't a router LaserDisc, but it was the DVD, and I remember listening to that in 5.1. Yeah, I finally got like a 5.1 system, and I was just like, holy crap, sound is amazing. I need to really focus on that. Cabal Blu-ray is also going for big bucks too. Got one for 50. Yeah, because that was, who put that out? Was that like Severin or something like that? And you could get it from the Clive Barker site, and there was a limited amount of them. Yeah, I totally missed the boat on that. Sound is so important. Just as properly. Dark room, a calibrated monitor. Yeah, man, get yourself some light control, especially if you're going projector. SF Marine mentioned CRT. Do I have one for LaserDisc? I've got, all right, here's the funny thing. I got one CRT TV, that same Magnavox that I bought in, 94, 95? Probably 95. Still going strong. A direct view, and I watch, all right, here's where it gets stupid. I got my LDS1 hooked up to it, so I watch LaserDiscs on it. I've got did I still have a small DVD player, even though I end up using my other Blu-ray player? I think it's got a DVD player hooked up to it. But then I've got a Sony Blu-ray player hooked up to it. It's a cool compact Sony Blu-ray player that actually has a freaking composite out jack out, which is amazing. So I watch Blu-rays on it all the freaking time on my stupid 27-inch Magnavox. And then I also have one of those converter boxes. We were talking recently, I don't know if it was in the chat or if it was at work, about that period when the government was giving you converter boxes when HD transition happened. And I got tons of those things. Like my mom was like getting them, like LaserDisc Home Theater gets Sony Muse players. So it like walls of them. My grandmother had them, my grandfather had them, and then when they passed, they came back to us, and so I had them all over the house. So I've got one of those, HD converter boxes hooked up to it. So I watch a ton of over-the-air TV. I watch a lot of streaming on it, and I watch a lot of Blu-ray, and I watch a lot of LaserDisc. So I use the crap out of that CRTV. And at work, I've got a Sony Vega on my desk. I should do another room tour at work. It used to be the Laser Turkey, in the Laser Turkey room where we watch movies. That used to be the Prime TV. Because we used to have a cheesy, I forgot what, it was a Vega, like Sony Vega, a Trinitron knockoff, but it had like a VHS player and a DVD player built into it. But it died, so I went to Craigslist one day with a guy from work, and we bought the Sony Trinitron from a rich dude who had it in his basement and was just getting rid of it. So I threw it in the back of my car, took it back to work, and put it in there, and we used that for a couple of years. And then we got a Samsung flat screen wall mounted in there with legacy inputs. So I grabbed some RCA cables and hooked up the panning player, the LX670, onto that sucker. So I moved the Sony Vega into my cubicle at work. So I've got my two HD monitors in front of me for like work stuff, and then right behind me I can spin around and play Mappy on my on my Sony Trinitron in there. So I still have that sucker too, which is a gorgeous TV. I know those things had, you know, convergence issues, not convergence issues, but geometry issues, etc. But I think it's beautiful looking TV. Elvin was saying, new here, what's your opinion on 4K versus streaming? 4K, since streaming I like as a replacement for cable. For any kind of legacy, yeah. No, I mean, every once in a while I'll stream a 4K copy of something that I have, like on Vudu or whatever, if I'm just kicking around in my room here or doing some work up here. If I'm too lazy to go downstairs and pick up the Blu-ray or the UHD down there. But yeah, I'm not in love with streaming as a replacement for my collecting or my interest in film and legacy, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm a diehard physical media enthusiast. That said, I do stream the crap out of Amazon, and I watch a lot of stuff on there. But yeah, 4K, whatever. If I'm excited about 4K, I'm excited about it being UHD, really. Though that said, you know, I have been able to stream relatively well 4K without any major problems or something like that. But yeah, I'm physical media all the way. But yeah, then people are talking about Samsung not making the 4K Blu-ray players anymore. And yeah, Oppo. I'm more bummed about Oppo not making them, really. Because, I mean, we've talked about it a lot in some of the previous live streams, etc. If 4K and Blu-ray and stuff goes boutique and goes kind of cult, I'm cool with it. So it was cool having a kind of cult player like Oppo. So now it kind of sucks that that option's gone. So it's just, yeah, you know, Sony and Panasonic, etc. So it is a bit of a bummer, but I'm not too worried about it still. But yeah, what else we got going on? Yeah, Spencer was saying his XBR 960 makes LD come alive. Yeah, man. One of my favorite times with that TV. Pardon me. I gotta get liquid. I'm almost out. Damn. One of my favorite times with that TV was actually a horrible, crappy time. There was this stupid job at work, and there was this like immense amount of work that needed to be done on, and it was super tedious stuff, and lots of paperwork and prepping things. And it was one of those cases where I was like, I got to come in on a Saturday and do this. So it's like I go into the work, got the entire place to myself. It's a Saturday. I go in, I set up all my stuff on the table, and I fire up the Panasonic. I get that Trinitron going, and I worked all the way through the entire Connery Collection Volume 1 box set. It's freaking awesome, because it was like one of those things where it was tedious stuff that I didn't really need to pay that much visual attention to, so I could still watch a decent amount of it. And you know, I had a pretty damn good morning and afternoon, even though it sucked being at work. But that TV really did make LD come alive. It looked fantastic on it. All right, what else we got? Oh man, it's talking about Nightbreed going for $250, which is horrible. Ugh. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick up that Ultimate 3-hour Cabal cut if it's one of those things that I can find out about on time, where it doesn't just go to like the Clive Barker page and I find out about it like 3 weeks too late or something like that. What are my thoughts on the Jack Ryan movies? My favorites of them are Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. Harrison Ford in both films are terrific. Yeah, I love them all. I really enjoyed Hunt for Red October. I didn't see it in the theaters, nor did I see Patriot Games in the theaters. But I caught Patriot Games for probably the first time on VHS, and I got sucked into it. And Moikey knows for sure that I was after the AC3 reissue of that for the longest time, because I had the regular, which is still nice, the PCM widescreen version that Paramount put out, but then they reissued it. I have the AC3 reissue of Hunt for Red October, which is great, and Clear and Present Danger, man, the first AC3 disc. I got that from Columbia House, the LaserDisc Club. Loved that film. I saw that in the theater as well. Dug them all. I did go see The Sum of All Fears in theaters. I still have not seen the new Jack Ryan show on Amazon, even though I have Amazon, so I gotta check that out. But that the original trilogy Jack Ryan flicks, I love them all. Yeah, really good stuff. In fact, I just watched Hunt for Red October at work not too long ago with somebody who hadn't seen it before, and he loved it. So it's one of those films that holds up. But yeah, really good stuff. DuckUsucker was talking about his faves. Mission Impossible, good one. Phantom Menace, yeah, I got it. Thanks to Laserdisc Theater. Raiders, Temple of Doom, Flash Gordon. I need Flash Gordon widescreen. That's one of the pan and scan ones that I won't get rid of, because I bought it at Laser Craze used, and I love the jacket art. GoldenEye DTS, Tomorrow Never Dies DTS. I wish I had DTS The Shadow. I just got the PCM one. What else? RoboCop 4K remastered Blu-ray looks fantastic. Pete was saying he's still going to pick up the Arrow. Yeah, hell yeah. Definitely going to get that Arrow. Gotta love those scalpers on eBay. Yeah, man. Anyone's looking for that payout. Macho Watcher Miyapu says, I have all versions of ID4. I like the sound of the DTS LaserDisc. Love the picture of the 4K. And then everybody was talking about the sound of ID4. Which one's better? Austin Wilco was saying, I might make HD copies of the Cabal Cut just to spite the scalpers, right? I mean, I'm not endorsing you scalping things or making bootlegs, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I may or may not have been a provider of LD dubs back in the day to a lot of my friends, because I mean, there was a lot of dudes that would actually make a business out of getting HK movies. And obviously the anime circuit was all loaded with this stuff too, and just dubbing off copies of like John Woo movies and stuff, and selling them for like $20 a pop, and like he could make $20 for measly investment of a blank VHS tape, and then a couple hours of his time, or just keep running stuff while he goes on and does other things with his life. But there was a guy from San Diego that he used to buy a lot of stuff from, because I didn't have the money to go buy every like Tai Sang LaserDisc or import all the ones from Hong Kong directly, obviously. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, I would hook people up with copies of the Army of Darkness, Captain Supermarket Cut, or whatever like that. And obviously it didn't look as good on VHS, but those VHS dubs look pretty damn good actually from LD on a high grade videotape. Man, looked good. And then I got a S video player or SVHS, and yeah, that thing, the JVC is badass. That makes some really nice copies. What else we got going on? Trevor Noble wants to know, what's up, Trevor, when I'm unboxing the Beauty Molly? No, man, only Chattergeist has the Beauty Molly. You can get the original Suspiria on 4K from Italian Import. Yeah, I almost bought Suspiria when I was at the archives. Studio 8H says, evening. Good evening. I'm still rocking my my Suspiria Anchor Bay triple discs DVD. I was just talking to today about how I'm like perfectly satisfied with my Anchor Bay Dawn of the Dead Ultimate Edition. I mean, I've got the LaserDisc. Shout out to Moikey for hooking me up with that, the Elite version. But I don't have all the different versions of Dawn of the Dead on LaserDisc, but I do have the Ultimate Edition on Anchor Bay DVD. And I know Daisuke Beppu is also a big fan of that. Like, I'm almost perfectly satisfied with that release. I know I'm going to eventually buy a 4K or something like that, but what have you. But I'm also like pretty satisfied with that Anchor Bay Suspiria, though I know I'm going to get a newer version at some point. So, all right, what else we got going on here? Everyone's chatting surround on LD. I bet the cool 90s kid like you would buy the DTS LD of Independence Day. Yeah, man, if I can find that sucker, I will buy it. Right. All right. Let's see if I can get caught up. Until you see the black levels on XBR. I lost it. Spencer was proclaiming the black levels of the Sony Trinitron to be a thing of wonder, which is true. Of course, I got another block of comments I got to catch up on. All right. All right. So everyone's talking Trinitrons and how amazing they are. Do I hook up many consoles to it? And 64. Yeah, I have hooked up NES, and I've got a couple like consoles and a little one of those like little portable Atari consoles, and then another one with like Ms. Pac-Man and Xevious and all that stuff preloaded on it. We played those things on it. I brought in my PlayStation 1 and played that on it. I got my PS2 hooked up to my 4K right now, so I was just playing some Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 the other night. Yeah. So everyone's talking CRTs for sure. All right. We're shaking. Let's go on down. Pete was saying, what was the one movie I personally thought wasn't as good as everybody else made it out to be? Good Will Hunting. That was one. Everyone loved that movie, so it was the best thing ever, and I saw it, and I thought it was a mess. I thought it was like 5 movies wrapped into one, and I didn't really buy the premise of like super janitor Matt Damon being like smarter than Einstein. Like, really nothing about that movie fired for me, and it was weird. It was like, it just kept going, and whatever. There's some other movies that people weren't like super fans of, but I just really didn't like. Like Closer, I hated that movie. It's got to be some other like big like blockbusters or something. There's some Last Action Hero I hated when I saw it the first time. I really appreciate the 90s-ness of it now and the cheese of it, but everyone loved that. I hated that. I know there's some others. I'll come to me. As a long-time collector, how many titles do you have at this point? Oh yeah, I brought that up earlier, but only 800 and so LDs. And then, a little bit under 2,000 for DVDs and Blu-rays, though I think that list might be a little bit low, and they might not have some of my duplicates and things like that. Not too crazy. I keep things a little bit trimmed down. In fact, one of the Newberry Comics joked one time when I traded in DVDs that, like, they're like, you're selling all your stuff? I'm like, what are you talking about? No way. And they're like, this is more than a lot of people's entire collections. I'm like, I'm just trimming the fat. And then I sold a bunch of stuff to FYE after that too. So I don't normally sell stuff because I kind of collect to keep, but space was an issue, and I think that was probably the kidney stone era when I had to pay for hospital bills like crazy. So I was actually forced to sell things for the first time. But I'm not one of those guys that sells stuff and then buys it back and sells stuff and buys it back. The only kind of solace I took in selling that stuff was that maybe I could reinvest in Blu-ray copies of the DVDs I was selling and then upgrade. So that was the only thing that kind of let go of some, my Akira Kurosawa Criterion collection, discs. Bad times. Nightbreed was redubbed and edited to shit. Yeah, for sure. I didn't even notice it when I saw it in theaters. I just loved the hell out of it, and I was all grooving to the Danny Elfman music and just the oddness of it all. I have theatrical cut DVD, and you really see the editing flaws after viewing the director's cut. Yeah, it is cool to have the shock ending of the theatrical cut too. I do miss like having that there. Just even though it's not the proper director's ending. Lots of pan and scan. Yeah, lots of pan and scan for horror for sure, especially classic horrors. It is a bummer, but I do love me some later releases. I just wish they were cheaper. What classic movie have you still not seen that we would be surprised by? There used to be a lot bigger list. Like I just saw Third Man recently. Citizen Kane, obviously, I've seen. Casablanca, I've seen. I know there's some like ridiculous ones where I'm like, I still haven't seen that. Like, obviously artsy stuff like The Bicycle Thief, I've never seen. There's some Kubrick films I still haven't seen. I never saw Barry Lyndon. What else? I haven't seen M. I still haven't seen M. That's on the list. There's got to be a few, and there's some like 90s cheese I haven't seen too, which is kind of what's fueled my LaserDisc collecting. Getting into things like Virtuosity that somehow I missed on VHS cable and in cinemas, and I freaking love it. But there's got to be some of the like classics, like Godfather type classics that I haven't seen. I know there are. That everybody would be like, "What? You haven't seen that? What the hell's wrong with you?" I'll keep simmering on that. Pete was saying, "I've not seen Lord of Illusions, but I've seen Hellraiser and love that movie." Yeah, the original Hellraiser I love. Hellraiser 2 has some issues, but I still love it. And then Hellraiser 3, I kind of dig the 90s-ness of it again, but I hate what Dimension did with it. And there's elements of that movie I actively hate. Doug Bradley's still in it, which is really cool. But there's some aspects of it I do like. So Hellraiser 3, I'm on the fence. But Hellraiser 1 and 2, even with its flaws, I still dig it. It's true that horror is now getting the attention it deserves. Melinda mentioned maybe we can hope for a release of The Keep. Yeah, I was talking with the archive guys. I was talking about doing an LD screening of The Keep. Everybody says Michael Mann's disowned that movie. He's never going to go back to it. But I don't necessarily think that's written in stone. Paramount. I mean, there's an audience for it. there is a possibility we'll get a proper version of the Keep. I'd love to see an Arrow Video version of the Keep with multiple cuts and all like that extra stuff that we saw in the TV version. That is like prime territory for an Arrow release. I mean, who wouldn't buy an Arrow release of the Keep? That would be the shiznit. Oh, Farley's Nerd Cave. What's up, Farley? I just added Hellraiser to LaserDisc myself. So stoked. Yeah, and I got the LumaVision box set, which you can probably see behind me. But yeah, I love that disc. I need to get the Hellbound Hellraiser 2 one, which was released, separately. It wasn't another box set, but I need to pick that up for sure. Do you have Nemesis on LD? I just bought the new MVD Blu-ray. No, I might get that Blu-ray actually, because I rented Nemesis on VHS, and Nemesis was one of those titles back in the day. Just the cover alone, you're like, this is going to be the coolest thing ever. And then you watch it, and it's tedious as hell. And you're just watching it forever to see the person like shoot the gun through the floor and fall through the floor. It's so tedious. It's so boring and slow. But yeah, man, Olivier Grunet. It's classic stuff, man. So I don't have it on LD, but I might get that MVD Blu-ray for sure. Just because, man, Nemesis. It's a staple. Pete 1972, Dracula 1979 needs to be restored badly. I have not seen that in a dog's age. Original color timing back. Yeah. 79 Dracula. Yeah, I have not seen that in a long time. How much was... The World Is Not Enough? It was just shy over $200, I think. I think it is obviously the most expensive LaserDisc I ever bought. Even back in the day, the most expensive disc I bought in the prime days was probably the Brazil Criterion box, which was $140 something, $150. So, yeah, nothing. And I never plan on spending that much for a disc ever again. For sure. Not like Moiki with his $300 version of The Beach. If I want to get Muse discs, I'm gonna have to cough up the dough, because those things are like one Muse disc equals, I forgot how much LaserDisc Home Theater says, like one Muse disc equals a certain amount of 4K discs. So when he was selling off his Muse discs, he's like, I just sold a Muse disc, I can just load up on 4K discs now. But yeah, Twine was I think it was just over maybe like 220 or something like that, but it had the Obi mint, minty condition. No problems, no jacket problems at all. So yeah, he hooked me up for sure. But yeah, it was definitely tough to cough that up. Yeah, Star Trek Nemesis. Yeah, it was sadly too late in LDDB. I know a lot of people hate that movie anyways, but I would totally buy that on LaserDisc. But that was 2002. So yeah. Spencer was saying he's dying to try Atmos, but don't know if I can afford charging out my hardware. Yeah, Atmos it's going to be a while for me to get into Atmos, just because, again, I'm a sucker for Rotel, so until they do something and do it right, I'm probably going to be waiting a while. I mean, unless they just drop out of the game or start really screwing up, maybe I'll be forced to step outside of my Rotel cube. But man, I just love Rotel gear. So, I mean, I know I could easily walk into like Joe Schmo's Audio Hut and get, an Onkyo or a Denon or whatever 15.7 surround sound thing. It's no big deal, but it takes a while for that stuff to creep into the stuff, from the makers that I enjoy. Yeah, so I'm excited to have 7.1. Yeah, my listening room is not that huge. I can still, hear discrete, essentially or phantom center surround stuff all the time. I used to love listening to Logan's Run, because there's like all that like bleepy electronic Jerry Goldsmith music in the beginning, and you can like clearly hear like coming from center surround behind you, even though I had 2 surround sound speakers in stereo and not a center. But yeah, it was cool. Great phantom center. What else we got going on? Oh, Austin Nemesis. Yeah, Star Trek Nemesis versus Olivier Gruner Nemesis. Yeah, definitely 2 different movies. Probably only watches LaserDisc on 80s TV and 80s surround sound. Yeah, 80s surround sound, man. I remember the first time hearing Top Gun in surround sound at the friend's house. I'm like, holy crap. Oh yeah, the Japanese pressing of Nemesis has the director's cut. Yeah, I don't have that because I suck. I need to pick that up. But I do have like some cool things. I've got the Japanese not director's cut, but the alternate cut of Johnny Mnemonic at least. So Aaron Johnson was saying he likes Studio Ghibli stuff. Yeah, I need to get the Studio Ghibli box LD. The Cat Returns. I actually watched that one. They did the Studio Ghibli. They've been doing that like Fathom events screening series for a couple of years in my neck of the woods. So I actually watched Cat Returns for the first time. For that, they show it twice. They each film twice. They have like the dub movie night, then they have the subtitled movie night. So I always go for the subtitle night, which is usually like a weekday, but it's pretty cool. All right, what's going on? Oh yeah, Andy Summers, the cinema enthusiast versus Andy Summers, the police guitarist. Also underrated, very much so. Well, someone was saying the Nemesis MVD Blu-ray has the director's cut, yeah, and the Japanese cut. Nice. Yes, I too am pissed. I missed the the Shout Factory Vincent Price box one. I went to Arrowroot and they're all amazing. Yeah, it's true. I can do it, but I do know where I can get a copy, and it is under $200. So yeah, maybe we'll see. Austin was saying I still like to get Nemesis LDs for the original US audio. The MVD release only put the German remixed audio on there with a different narration and ending. You know what I want? God's Army, aka The Prophecy. I got hooked on that movie because it came out. It took forever for The Prophecy to come out here in the States, and it came out overseas as God's Army. And sadly, there's really not. I think there's maybe some PAL LaserDiscs. There might be like a Dutch PAL LaserDisc, or maybe like a French or German one or something like that. But I bought from Video Searcher Miami. I don't know if anybody remembers that back in the day. If you read Video Watchdog magazine, they told you all about Video Searcher Miami stuff. They were one of those bootleggers back in the day that got away with making copies of films that weren't otherwise available in the States. So they got away with the Berne Convention argument that they were selling, that they weren't technically selling because they charged you a membership fee up front. So you paid like a membership fee, and then you could get a copy of a film in their library for free as a courtesy to their members. And then their argument was that because they were distributing versions and cuts of films that weren't released domestically in the States, that they could do it legally. They were wildly inconsistent, though. Their promise was that they had the best versions possible of a film, and I bought Legend, the overseas cut with the Jerry Goldsmith score and everything like that from them. And like they clearly could have gotten a Japanese LaserDisc. There was multiple Japanese LaserDisc pressings put out there, and released that. Instead, they got me like it was like a Spanish copy, and had like Spanish subs on it. And they used to do this cheesy thing where if they got something off of TV, they would put fake letterbox mats through their processor over like the on-screen icons, the chyrons and stuff like that. And they would lie and say it was like a letterboxed cut. They would totally do that with like the Tram, the Dario Argento like TV series short thing. Like they would sell it and be like, it's letterboxed. It's like, no, you letterboxed it and trimmed it so you can cut off the fact that it was taped off of TV. But yeah, I had this like faux letterboxed kind of like Spanish subtitled PAL dupe to VHS. It looked like ass. It was horrible. And like I bought their Mad Max because it had the original Australian English. That obviously they couldn't get from LaserDisc, so at least I had that. But the audio was like really bad and kept going in and out and like whatever. So they were wildly hit or miss, but they had a huge catalog, and that was probably part of the problem, is they just had way too much inventory. But yeah, what was I saying? Somehow I started talking about different cuts and things like that. And yeah, I used to get stuff from Video Searcher Miami back in the day. What else? Let's see what's shaking down here. SF Marine takes off. Oh, sorry if I missed you, buddy. But yes, thanks for joining in. What else? We're talking about police movies. Regatta. Zenyatta Madata. That's great stuff. I just listened to my vinyl of Ghost in the Machine not too long ago. Yeah, Synchronicity, good stuff. Yeah, I still got my originals. Yeah, I think I need to get like the first 3 on vinyl. What else is shaking down here? I should probably go to bed at some point because I gotta do some radio tomorrow. I don't want to blow out my voice, I suppose. Oh, okay. Austin Wilcott's only giving away those Cabal Cut copies, not selling them. Yeah, cool. Do it for the kids. You know, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 was I playing Wolverine or Darth Maul. I didn't actually unlock my cheat because I was actually bummed because I thought at first my my memory card was wasted, and I wanted to load my character because I built a Sam guy who like dressed just like me and had goatee and the shades and everything. Even though I'm not wearing shades, he didn't have busted fingernails. But I had that guy and I'm like, oh, I want him. And then of course I had all the the unlocked characters and stuff like that. But yeah, I actually just ended up starting a new kind of campaign from the beginning and trying to collect skate and all that stuff. So I got lost in that. So I didn't even get a chance to load up Wolverine or Darth Maul. I used to love skating as Darth Maul though. What else is shaking? Let's go down. Boom, boom, boom. I would become the coolest guy on the planet to the home of video hippies once I get the DTS Independence Day. I'm working on it. I'm going to steal a copy from maybe Steven Cascella. He's got all the DTS stuff. Also Pete was saying, I love The Third Man. My favorite film, Norris. Yeah, great film. I'm not a fan of the zither, I have to say. The zither score I could take in small doses, and I appreciated the kind of absurdity and the counterpoint of it all. But it got a little tedious after a while. But, man, that scene on the Ferris wheel, killer stuff. And just the overall vibe of it, and then the amount of, like, James Bond actors that are involved in it, pretty cool. And the Criterion Laserdisc was great. I loved it. Citizen Kane and Casablanca go out and say one of the two best movies ever. Kane was like one of those movies I loved to hate for a while because I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, but I still, of course, obviously appreciate all of its technical feats and stuff. But like for Orson Welles movies, I get more of a buzz out of inferior movies like Touch of Evil and Casablanca. I freaking love it. It's like such an influence on Indiana Jones and Star Wars, etc. And I love that stuff. So of course I love Casablanca. We still don't have the proper Blu-ray Hellraiser 3, the unrated version. Yeah, with the extra. I know. I wish they had just done a straight LD rip instead of doing the weird kind of mixing the HD footage with the LD scenes. David Lynch hates Dune, and that's still on Blu-ray and HD DVD. Yeah, right. I would love an animated movie of Jodorowsky's Dune too. Yeah, I love that documentary. So cool. I mean, he's such a character. And yeah, those little bits that they animated of his storyboards, his Dune book that they put in the movie, they easily could do a Kickstarter and get the money to do a proper animated version. That'd be sick. It'd be like the coolest thing since like a Ralph Bakshi movie. Like that'd be awesome. Yeah, Dune. Case in point, like it's out there, man. Austin has Hellraiser 1 through 3 on LD, but the first two are the image discs. And yeah, I should just get 3 on LD and just get the cut that way. Is AC3 Under the Dragon a rare or common find? You can find it. I think I actually need to pick that. I have I got from the archive, like the earlier End of the Dragon, before the director's cut or whatever, the special cut came out. But yeah, you can find it. It's one of those cool AC3 titles that are like kind of later and not everywhere, but they're not super expensive like DTS titles either. So you can easily pick it up at some point. So I can't get enough copies of Enter the Dragon, so I'm definitely going to get that. Spencer's saying he's down for a 4K restoration of Third Man to come out. Yeah, he's got the UK disc, not so good. Do I have any on-demand Blu-rays? I like the Warner ones. I've got the Warner archive of The Hunger, and I swear I just got another one not too long ago. What was the other Warner on-demand one? I haven't stepped outside of Warner. I do appreciate that they actually don't do like they do DVD-Rs with their DVDs. They actually have like properly mastered Blu-rays for their Blu-rays. But I swear I just got another one of those like on-demand ones. But yeah, Wildlife with Chris Penn and Eric Stoltz. Oh, it's too bad Maxine's not on. I know she's got that pseudo sequel to Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I remember renting that, or maybe caught that on cable for the first time. And I haven't seen that in A Dog's Age either. Right. What do we got going on? Exorcist 3 Director's Cut. It's much worse with the HD to VHS dip in quality. That is a bummer. I still need to get that Scream Factory. Exorcist 3, though. I've got the, sorry, VHS Plus LaserDisc version, which does have some pretty cool artwork on the cover. I got to keep it going. Oh, Jodorowsky's Dune with Pink Floyd music, or some Pink Floyd and Magma, too. Totally badass. I would be way down for that. Do I have the Skynet Edition Blu-ray? I've got whatever is in that box. I've got that box set with that kind of 3D Terminator face on it that has 1 through 4 in there. And I can't remember like which version of T2 was in there, but I have that. And then on DVD, I've got the original Artisan release, which had that like steel, like almost full wraparound slipcover. I had that sucker, which they released like a couple different versions of that, because like there was like a flipper DVD version, and then like maybe like a dual layer one, or I forgot. They came out with a couple different, but I got like the first one. And then of course Laserdisc City. I got tons of them on Laserdisc. What else we got going? Body Parts with Jeff Fahey Blu-ray. Yeah, I actually just sold my full screen Body Parts, because that was like one of those ones I'm like, oh man, I need this. I need the letterbox version. I mean, I don't think that's like a scope film or anything like that. I'd be totally down to get a Blu-ray uncut version of Body Parts. But yeah, so that was one of those ones I sold. I'm like, no way, man, I'm getting the letterbox copy. So I still need to get that. You need to release Terminator with the original mono mix. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the, especially 80s movies, early 80s movies and mono mixes. You don't need to juice those up into 5.1. They usually sound pretty cheesy. Yeah, I mean it's done okay occasionally, but what else we got going on? Oh yeah, so I was gonna do before I go to sleep. I got to do my go on LDDB and break down like how many discs I have per genre. Let me see if we can set that up. Jurassic Park's on Blu-ray. I never did get around to buying the sets. I just have I don't have the Jurassic Parks on Blu-ray. I just have Jurassic World and 1 and 2. Yeah, Fallen Kingdom or whatever. Everything else is just DVD, VHS, and Laserdisc, depending on the film. So let's go over to LDDB. Let me see if I can log in here. Bam. And see what I got for a collection. What else is going on here? It's one of those things, Jurassic Park, I always see the collections, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get that someday, and then I just never get around to getting it. I do have Phantasms on Blu-ray and the Incubate DVDs. I've got Phantasm on Laserdisc, just the first one. I got the remastered Well Go Steelbook I showed like a week or two ago on Blu-ray, and then I've got the MGM DVD. So I got 3 versions. I don't understand. The Masters of Cinema Blu-ray of Nashville sounds better than the Criterion Blu-ray, even though they both use the same video transfer. Oh, okay. Pete and Spencer are going back and forth. Let's rock LDDB. LaserDisc database. Let's see. I'm glad some people are still awake. Creeping up on midnight. But I got the day off tomorrow, so who cares? And actually, I got to get a Jurassic Park. My boy Peter's actually got a 35mm scan of that too. I've been meaning to send him a hard drive so he could load it up for me. Got it. Yeah. I don't know if I can remember my login information. I'm always logged into the LDB, so the chances of me actually remembering my password are slim. Let's see. Let's see if it's something simple. Bear with me. Let's try this. Cross my fingers. That's not my password. Damn. Alright, we'll try one other thing. Otherwise, I'll do it next week. Damn. Oh, well. Thought it would be cool. Austin just bought Driller Killer on Blu-ray. Oh, man. I love that freaking Arrow version of Driller Killer. That movie is so grimy, nasty. It's like so, that cusp of the 70s and 80s, New York. Yeah, I know Abel Ferrara's stuff is hit or miss with a lot of people, but I really like Driller Killer. That was cool. And I just love how it starts off with, like, you need to turn this up. This must be played at the maximum volume. And it's such a nasty, like, it sounds New York, like that period. It's not like punk music and stuff, but there's all sorts of like just noise rock and stuff in it. And it's cool, man. I really dug that. I didn't get the steel book, sadly, but I got the screeners they sent, and with the different cut and stuff like that, man. And yeah, just so nuts, man. Yeah, I love the total vibe of it, and how much of that was just taken from Abel Ferrara's life, and like the paintings and stuff like that, and the characters in it. It's just, that was like just pretty much the people he hung out with. 4K Wilgo Phantasm looks fantastic. Yeah, I really dug my Phantasm steelbook. I thought it looked really cool. I mean, it didn't like change my life or anything compared to watching it on LD and DVD, but yeah, I was actually surprised. I don't. Pete doesn't go watch animated movies in theaters, but if Jodorowsky's Dune gets made in the really cool animated style, I'll freak out and see it. Yeah, for sure. It'll be one of those things that'll probably be at the art house or whatever. But I would definitely. I got some options around my area to be able to find it. Criterion sometimes does their own audio cleanup. Oh, yeah. Pete and Spencer are still going at it. Melinda's still awake. Excellent. Any hope of a keep on Blu-ray too? Yeah, there's always like some buzz about it, but it never quite happens. The archive guys said that they heard something or they saw something, like somebody posted like on Wikipedia or something, that like Severin or someone had got the rights and they were gonna put it out, and then they looked again and it was like deleted. so they weren't quite sure about it. If your phone browser doesn't default to LDDB for quick checks on discs in the wild, you're not addicted yet. Nope, I pretty much never use LDDB on my phone because they don't have an app, and I'm just tired of zooming and all that stuff. So I pretty much as I love the LDDB, it's a PC, laptop, and desktop site only for me. I'll occasionally reference that on my phone, but it's usually more frustrating than ever. So I never look at my collection on my phone. So, again, someone needs to make a proper like LD tracking app, which would be amazing. Oh yeah, music rights. So yeah, the Tangerine Dream music rights is always an issue, but I have faith it can happen. If Universal can release like every episode of Miami Vice with the music rights, somebody can figure out and get Tangerine Dream on score to get those tracks on there. Saw Bad Lieutenant, absolutely hated it when I first watched it. Not what I thought it was going to be, but I should give it another chance. Yeah, actually, Bad Lieutenant was one of those movies that I saw, and I actually did like it on the first chance, but I can absolutely understand hating on the first time. I recommend getting the LaserDisc. It looks like ass, but if you can get one of the early copies, it has the Schoolie D track, which has, I don't even think it's actually a sample of Led Zeppelin's Kashmir, but it's Schoolie D like rapping against a sample of a cover version of the riff from Kashmir, but it still got pulled from the disc, so you can still find copies with the Kashmir track on there quite often. So I recommend finding that LaserDisc. It's not letterboxed or anything, and the video is super noisy, but yeah, whatever. It's Bad Lieutenant. Yeah, it'll just makes it look gnarlier, which totally fits it. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like, The Funeral, like I was kind of like half in, half out the first time I saw it. I like The Addiction. Yeah. There are really too many Abel Ferrara flicks. I still don't have Ms. 45 though. I haven't seen Ms. 45. But yeah, his stuff, I don't know. I kind of dig it. I don't have his Body Snatchers movie either. Austin bought all 3 Maniac films on Blu-ray, 1 from Arrow and 2 or 3 from Blue Underground. Yeah, I need to get on the stick with those suckers too. That is definitely on my list. Have I watched Lawnmower Man on Blu-ray? Yeah, you know, I was supposed to drop my review. I got I got a screener from Scream Factory like years and years ago, and I reviewed it on the radio, but I never did get around to making a YouTube review. But yeah, I got the double disc with the director's cut, and it is kind of interesting watching that, how it, you know, it jumps from the theatrical cut to the director's cut footage, and there is like a bit of a color timing change, and like sometimes like jump cuts because of missing like key switch over frames. But yeah, it was fun. I really liked the director's cut. I had never picked up the LaserDisc version, so that was my first time seeing it. Was on there. I thought it looked great too. There was like a weird bit. There's a scene where they're out in like Pierce Brosnan's lawn or whatever, and that kid from next door is hanging out, and there's like this weird like kind of motion thing. It was in both versions, and it seems almost like it's something in the source, kind of like that weird ass version part of Transformers the movie, when like Hot Rod and them are like at the lake, and it's got that weird kind of motion artifact thing. There was like something like that with like it was either the kid or Job like walking across the lawn, and there was like this weird stuttering thing. But other than that, yeah, I thought that looked really good. The sound was great. I saw that movie in the theater. It's, yeah, it's a hot mess, but like my dad was like really into cyberpunk stuff, and like I was, you know, steeped in the world of anything cyberpunk-ish and all that stuff, and we were always into, you know, computer stuff and cutting edge things like that. So I mean, my favorite Brett Leonard movie is still Virtuosity, but I dug watching the Lawnmower Man one. Won't wonder if Lawnmower Man 2 will ever get a Blu-ray. It's a bad movie, but still, you know, it's sure enough, it's got to get one. What was it? Spencer was digging Bad Lieutenant. I really like the Nick Cage, the Herzog sequel too. Oh, 4K I was saying Ms. 45 is one of his best. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna dig it for sure. There's just something. Oh man, there's just that whole period of movies. Like, there's something like about like just movies that like capture New York, and like any late '70s, early stuff. You know, Chud's kind of like on the cusp, but Chud, Driller Killer, Basket Case. Like, I just love all that stuff. Like, there's just something like just really, there's like an energy to them. Yeah, it just kicks ass. I don't know. There's more I'm missing, but there's just something about them. Let's see. I know people dislike Lynch's Dune, but yeah, Dune's totally guilty pleasure for me too. I even like the Judas Booth, Alan Smithy version, even though it's a hot mess, and it's just that intro narration is just lots of, you know, images from artwork and stuff like that, and sketches, and and they didn't do the blue Fremenize in a lot of the scenes they cut back in. I've read the book like probably 3 or 4 times, going back to, you know, probably like, I don't know, middle school or something, probably the first time I read it. Saw Dune in the theater. I liked it then, and yeah, it's always like the special effects are weird, but like weird in a cool way. So even if they're like a little, you know, like blocky and hokey compared to like, you know, the Lucasfilm stuff like Return of the Jedi a year earlier, it's got a charm to it, and it's got enough Lynchian weirdness, but it's got enough of Frank Herbert's story that, I don't know, man. Kyle MacLachlan kicks ass in it. It's got so many great quotes. The music is kick ass. Yeah, I feel less and less guilty about it being a pleasure as the years go on. Basically, Spencer was saying Batman 66 can be released. Anything can. You know it. Yeah, signifying rappers over a live studio performance of Kashmir. Yeah, so it's not just like a sample of the Led Zeppelin needle drop or anything like that. And it shows up a couple times. But yeah, you'll know when you got it. I looked into getting a copy of it on LD. Yeah, Austin was saying the VHS and LD versions of the director's cut of Lawnmower Man has those same kind of editing glitches with the inserts. So yeah, it's not an issue. So, but yeah, the part I was talking about wasn't actually one of the parts when it was moving in and out of the. I explained that poorly. It wasn't one of those edits. It was actually just like a normal scene. I think that was in the theatrical cut and the director's cut, just on the lawn. It was just like a weird motion artifact. So yeah, it's weird. I'll try and pinpoint it and come back maybe next week. Yeah, Bad Lieutenant reminds me of a 70s movie in style. Yeah, it's got that 70s grime for sure. Frankenhooker. Oh yeah, and Brain Damage. Yeah, Brain Damage. Nice. Yeah. Good ones. Thanks for throwing that out there, 4K. Melinda was saying it's the same with LA and New York with noir films. City as it will never be again. Yeah, I know. Anytime you can get the capture of the city as like a character, and it's something that has been left in the past, there's a magic to that. Oh yeah, and of course Fed Rotha is I will kill him. Is Sting. So another Police connection. Police is the official band of tonight's live stream, apparently. Man, yeah, we've been cranking this sucker. It's what, almost 3 hours? I guess I'll crap this out at midnight. Like, well, let's go for it, man. Let's go for the gusto. Go for the full trifecta, 3 hours. Actually, I was a little late, so it'll be almost 3 hours. But what the hell? YouTube's got the space; they can handle it. Yeah, if you guys have any stuff you want to talk about next week too, like keep dropping it in the comments. I'll keep following up. What do I think of LA? I love LA Confidential. That's that's flick that's got that LA vibe for sure. I caught it. I think the first time I watched it was on a LaserDisc, my buddy's LaserDisc, and I've got it on LD. I don't own it and anything newer than that, but yeah, great score, great vibe, killer actors across the board, and yeah, totally dig it. I was less enthused with Brian De Palma's Black Dahlia, but LA Confidential was totally right up my alley. I'm gonna watch that again sometime soon. Oh, Austin bought the UK box set of the House films, all 4 films together. You know, I never watched 3 and 4 because one of them's not even really a House film. It was just kind of marketed that way. So I only ever saw House 1 and 2 growing up, and House 2 was a guilty pleasure. Not quite as strong as the original, because I freaking loved House. Like, dude, totally loved House. But House 2 is, Grandpa, man. He was so cool. There was just so much, like, invention in House 2 that it won me over. So I had to have those two. But I didn't get the box. Which I probably should have, but because now I hear that the other ones are pretty cool actually. So, which movies do I feel perfect for LaserDisc? A lot of 90s stuff. Actually, it would be kind of cool to have Virtuosity on Blu-ray, but I'm like totally cool with the LaserDisc. A lot of my 90s movies like The Net. Like, I don't think I necessarily need The Net on Blu-ray. In fact, there was a couple of things where I saw on Blu-ray recently where I was like, Wyatt Earp was one. I was like, do I really want to buy Wyatt Earp on Blu-ray or just want to get that LaserDisc box set and call it a day? I'm like, yep, this is where it's at. There's some, where it's like, I don't really feel the need to upgrade. Like, this is like a perfect representation of like that film from that time period. I just got Beyond Reanimator on Vestron Blue, and not too bad transfer wise. Yeah, that was the first time I actually saw Beyond Reanimator. It was fun. Those I'm digging the Spanish Yuzna Gordon stuff. Really like Dagon too. But yeah, Beyond Reanimator was pretty fun. It was good stuff. It wasn't bad at all. Pete, is it safe to say that I really like Titanic? I know I really like Titanic. I'm not ashamed to say it. Oh, 4K was saying Strange Days 20th anniversary from Blu-ray is fantastic. Oh man, you had to tell me that. I think we talked about that maybe before on YouTube too. Or you mentioned you were gotten it or were getting it, but I freaking love Strange Days. And all I got is the LaserDisc. I had the DVD that was I think it was just the LaserDisc transfer. Just dropped on DVD. I need to get that Blu-ray because how is there not a Criterion Collection version of Strange Days or like an Arrow version or something like that? Like, that movie is amazing. Austin was saying House 3 is pretty decent actually. Kruger Shocker knockoff. Yeah, I was kind of seeing that from it. But yeah, Brian James, man. Who doesn't like Brian James? What else we got? Time Cop, DTSLD. Oh yeah, Time Cop. I'm done. I don't need that. Actually a lot of that kind of era. Van Damme. I'm even cool with Bloodsport on LD. Sudden Death, cool on LD. I'm good with it. Yeah, black and white movies look fantastic on LaserDisc. Yeah, I picked up a ton from some lots, and even some of those old MCA Encore Edition ones look really good, even though they're like 80s pressings that don't have a lot of frills and like chapter stops and all that stuff. They look really freaking good on LD. Arrow Limited, the Bride of Reanimator. Yeah, I didn't get the Bride of Reanimator, but the Arrow first film was awesome. So yeah, I know I need to get Bride of Reanimator. I just watched that again not too long ago too, but not my own copy. Another 48 Hours needs a Blu-ray. Damn, I didn't even know that wasn't on a Blu-ray. Man, which LaserDisc artwork is the most 90s? Oh man, that's tough. Most 90s artwork. Strange Days is underrated. Saw that midnight showing. Yeah, man, I remember I'll get back to the artwork. I remember it came around the same time as Seven. I remember we wanted to go see Seven, and my roommate like almost vomited when Sloth happened, and she was so freaked out by it and wound up that she actually like had a panic attack when we left the theater, and she just ran off the theater. But we were doing like the usual, like hanging out in the lobby after and talking with the cinema workers. And I remember that guy going like, "Oh man, yeah, another messed up movie is Strange Days, man. That thing is messed up." And I was like, "Cool." So I totally screwed up and I missed the entire like regular run of it. But there's art house cinema on the college, Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, called Cine Studio, which is an amazing, like, I mean, it's a legendary theater. Like Stanley Kubrick's gotten personally involved in getting prints there. Christopher Nolan's given his personal prints to them. This guy James Hanley that runs the place is like a cinema legend. But yeah, they were running it, and their screen is fantastic, and it looked like kick-ass. So it was like the perfect way to see Strange Days. And then of course I bought the LaserDisc the day it came out, and that was one of those Fox ones too, so it was stupid expensive. Fox, if they had like a gatefold, it was like $50-$60 automatically. It was they were ripping you off like crazy. I'm still thinking about the most 90s LaserDisc artwork. I think it's something good. Hard Target's uncut on the Universal Blu-ray, and it looks good. Is it the crazy long like bootleg cut version though, or is it like the Japanese cut? Because I know on LaserDisc there's like a Japanese version that's a little bit longer, but then I don't think there's like a proper version of the work print version actually. Now that I think about it, that's another Arrow thing, man. They need to do their Hard Target. Because, yeah, there was that one that was trading on the VHS circuit that's, like, way long. Face Off there's another one, Face Off. I'm totally cool with having that on LaserDisc. Or as I call it, Face Touch. There's that thing where, like, everybody's touching each other's faces in that. Like, John Travolta is, like, always touching his daughter's face. I'm like, what's with the face touching? So we always call it Face Touch. And I always also love the fact that Nick always has to go, Face Off. Like, you didn't get what the title was. What's going on? Seven is hard to take the first time you watch it. Yeah, man. I remember being so freaking wound up. I was literally on the edge of my seat during the big, like, finale. And sweating. I just remember my hands were sweating. Like, my pants were getting saturated with sweat. I probably peed myself. Dude. Crazy stuff. Favorite Kubrick movie? My answer is cliched. 2001. It's tough to beat. 2001. But personal favorite might be A Clockwork Orange. Yeah, it might be, and I might just be because that's the first one I saw. That maybe made the biggest impact on me. 2001 was probably the second Kubrick film I saw, which also did make a big impact. But it might be A Clockwork Orange. Yeah. Dr. Strangelove is also a badass third. U.S. pressing a Fifth Element. Yeah, right when he was thinking about 90s artwork, I was thinking Floating Heads, and I could hear Sean screaming, "Goddamn Floating Heads!" So yeah, U.S. pressing a Fifth Element. Where did my Fifth Element go? I moved it on myself. Oh well. But that is pretty 90s, that's for sure. Good one, Melinda. 2001 is mind-blowing despite how old it is. Yeah, and I'm a sucker for it. I'll go see it over and over again. Doesn't matter where the print came from, or because there's been some, different versions of it playing recently. I've seen it in 70 millimeter, and of course, my favorite is still just watching it on the MGM Anniversary Edition CAV box set. That's still probably my favorite way to watch it. But Submarine came back. Yeah, I'm actually late. I said I was going to cut it off at midnight, but we're still going a little. We're doing a little overtime. Hard Target is the UK international cut in the Universal disc, so slightly shorter than the work print, but has most of the violence and more action. Yeah, that movie's so ridiculous. I love that movie. It's stupid, and it's like John Woo, like losing a lot of the juju from The Killer and Hard Boiled, but there's so much nonsense in it. I love that Wilford Brimley is in it. I love Arnold Vosloo and freaking Lance Henriksen as the bad guys. So over the top. Awesome. Yeah, we watched that at work not too long ago and just had a freaking blast. It's still that and Time Copper and Bloodsport are my three favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme films. Face Off is one of those awesome 90s flicks. Yeah, man, it's just, the Nick Cage factor alone, so amazing. Hard Target is perfect for a DTS LD, also on my hit list for sure. Need to get that. Oh, can I do my shout out voice for this piece? It was the 90s, man. It was the 90s, man. Shout out to the 90s. No TTS version of Demon Knight. Oh, dude, that would be so cool. I love Demon Knight. Saw that in the theater a couple times. And I really dig the Shout Factory, Scream Factory release. I do need to get that on Letterboxd Laserdisc too, though. DTS track in the theaters. That movie did sound badass in the theaters. That filter song, Hey Man, Nice Shot, kicking on those speakers when that film started going on. Yeah, that was awesome. Hard Target is mindless fun if you don't take it too seriously. I mean, chopping snakes' heads and just blowing tons of rounds at people, and just how insane Lance Henriksen is. Love that movie. I love all the other like useless side characters in it too. I love Wilford Brimley. I'll kill you. Wilford Brimley's the man. Just the fact that he's like on horseback, shooting a bow and arrow and blowing stuff up. Like, I don't want to live in a world where that isn't a thing. Hard Target's the shiznit. Oh, Austin doesn't have Demon Knight on any format. Whoa. Yeah, man, rectify that with a quickness if you can. Demon Knight is way cool. Bordello Blood was a major disappointment after that. I still like Bordello Blood enough, but Demon Knight was like, I don't know, it was one of those things. I watched Trails in the Crypt like a crazed person. Like, I taped them all. Like, there was so many great episodes, and I loved it, but I still wasn't sure about it, like a movie, even though Demon Knight obviously could have been Demon Knight without the Tales from the Crypt moniker easily. But I wasn't expecting just how cool that movie was. And then I was like, damn, I need to go see that again. No problem, Pete. Glad you enjoyed it. Hard Boiled on Blu-ray. I have lots of DVDs of that. And I had I bought from that guy in San Diego, I bought a VHS dub of the Criterion Laserdisc. I still don't know the Criterion Laserdisc of that or the Killer because I suck. And they're always like, they're not expensive. They're usually like 20 something bucks, but they're like just enough where I'm like, yeah, I'll get them some other day. And they're those triple gatefolds, and those things do not hold up well on shelves. So I'm always looking for like a minty copy. So anybody's got minty copies of the Killer or Hard Boiled, I'm in the market for them. But I looked out, I got the Criterion Hard Boiled well after it was out of print on DVD from Borders Books and Music. That's a blast from the past. And then I bought the, there was like a British kind of rendition of it, but it was like ported over to the States or something. So I got that from a flea market, and I think I might have another copy somewhere. But yeah, I don't have it on Blu-ray. Love that flick. The Killer's still my like all-time favorite John Woo flick, though. Yeah, the third Crypt film called Ritual, but it's pretty rare. And then yeah, there was like a whole bunch of other Crypt movies that were on the slate that just didn't happen, which is a bummer because like they all sounded pretty cool. Pete was saying he heard Hard Boiled is not that good on Blu-ray and may get the Criterion DVD. Yeah, I mean, those old John Woo movies, like even on LD, like they look pretty beat. So I mean, I don't know like how good essentially they can look. The sources for those films, like they were treated pretty poorly Not as bad as like Bollywood films where longevity and stuff was not taken into consideration at all. But yeah, those HK films were pretty beat up. So I mean, it's one of those cases where I'm not expecting mega high quality picture quality, and I'm fine with that. If full contact looks a little rough, or bullet in the head or something like that, I'm okay. How odd! Tales from the Crypt is not on HBO Go or on demand. Oh, that's too bad. I did get the DVD. Now they've repackaged them all together, but I did it originally when they came out with those individual slip-covered boxes for each season. I got all those. Love those things too. It started to get a little weird at times when they were like mixing in like other failed like EC comic spin-offs, like Two-Fisted Tales and stuff like that. So they weren't really scary at all, some of those episodes, but they still kept it going and kept like bringing in interesting directors and interesting actors that ended up becoming someone like Daniel Craig's in the one season that was like almost all done in England. It's cool stuff. Do I have Rawhead Rex? Hell yeah! I bought the first time I went down to the archives. I bought the nice slip-covered Blu-ray of Rawhead Rex. So that means I don't have to risk the rot and getting the LaserDisc, and I can retire my old crappy VHS copy taped off of like TCM or Spotlight or whatever the hell cable channel is. That's another guilty pleasure of mine. Anything Clive Barker, I'll give a chance for sure. Shout out to the 90s. Trilogy of Terror is on Kino Blu-ray now. Yeah, I need to upgrade that. I've got the in fact, I should have looked for that at the archives. I know they had it. I don't know if they still do. But I've got the DVD of that, which is cool. The third story is still the coolest thing ever that hit TV. Any Dan Curtis-y kind of stuff I love too. Where did the love of Japanese LDs really come from? Is it because LaserDisc was super popular in Japan? It was popular in Japan. There's like a ton of things at play. Like one is the pressings can be better. Everyone says like there's no laser rot in Japan, which is like, no, I've got some rotted Japanese discs, but Sony DADC USA wasn't making a lot of Japanese discs, so you have a better chance of getting a clean copy. But yeah, there are some rotted discs. But yeah, generally there's like the fetishism factor for like the exotic look of obi strips and katakana and hiragana and kanji and all that stuff. Like there's that exoticism that a lot of people get excited about. There's the fact that a lot of times they use alternate artwork for the covers. A lot of times the European poster art used over it, but then also there was like a Japanese design element that was really popular of doing montages of photos, and sometimes it's cheesy and sometimes it's cool. Like I mentioned before, I got Under Siege 2, and there's just this weird like batch of images of like of Steven Seagal in motion, like in like stop motion almost, but like it was just random. And like there's even some like montage artwork, when I really think about it, it's really not that cool. It's just a bunch of images slapped together. But that said, it does appear striking at first glance, so a lot of people love that stuff. We've taken pot shots at some of the weirder, like the Nightmare on Elm Street disc and like Battalion, the version of Return of the Living Dead. So they're not always awesome, but so there's that draw. There's the draw of sometimes different cuts, better pressing. Sometimes they got different audio, like Eraser has AC3, but the American version doesn't, and it's not rotted, which is a plus. But the jackets are like a thicker cardboard. The jackets are really, really well made, so they hold up well. They're stronger. So it's like a weird little combination. There's some stuff that's not available over here, obviously, like the Johnny Mnemonic longer cut. I got Captain Supermarket from there back in the day, and there's a lot of music discs that aren't available over here, so that's big. So yeah, it's like a weird little stew, but yeah, it is super popular. Austin got Godzilla 84 on Blu-ray. It looks kind of rough compared to the films. Oh, on US Blu-ray, I think Hong Kong and Japan just use rougher film sources than the US. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there was even a film variants. I remember Fujifilm was, instead of Kodak, was used for a lot of Hong Kong films, so they even had like a different kind of color look to them. But yeah, they would get like cheap ass Fujifilm. So there was like factory second film a lot of times. Melinda was saying, I wonder who has the rights to Tales from the Crypt because nothing streaming on Roku. Wow, that is a trip, though. Yeah, you would think HBO would have maintained, but maybe it's one of those things. It went back to like the production company or something like that. Because yeah, you think for sure on HBO Go or even Amazon Prime's got a pretty deep pocket of HBO stuff. Austin's got the Japanese LD of Hellraiser too. Yeah, that's notorious because that's got the image of Pinhead and crew as doctors that was cut, which is on the Arrow video release. You can see the deleted scene. So yeah, it, made Pinhead's a doctor. What is that in the movie? Nope. And the Japanese one too has like a little bit extra too. It's like a little bit longer cut. Do I prefer the artwork of the American or Japanese LD of Independence Day? I actually think I prefer the Japanese one. I think I'm leaning towards the Japanese one right now because just the kind of reddish look at the underneath of the ship, and maybe it's just because I had seen the iconic image of the ship hovering over the White House so many times. Maybe it is pretty iconic, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Japanese one right now. But the president, which one I go for? Yeah, I mean, I would be cool with. I actually don't have any Japanese DTS LDs. I don't think so. So I could be okay with a domestic DTS copy of something as opposed to splurging. If the price was the same, yeah, I'd probably get the Japanese one. Why not? Dead Alive needs a Blu-ray. Hell yeah. Apologies for bringing Independence Day up so much. Seems like a perfect DTS LD movie. Hell yeah. Yeah, Dead Alive is so OP on Blu-ray. Man. That's the other problem. Like, there's so much cool stuff coming on Blu-ray, but it being released by small companies, like, you want to get it while you can. Because then it'll go out of print, and yeah, there's some stuff like Twilight Time that they print like so few copies right away that like I'm like, all right, I better get off the pot and pick that up. Do I have the 5-disc set of Blade Runner? It's awesome. Yeah, I got the first Blu-ray 5-disc set that came out, which has that 1 or 2 like DVD for extra features, but yeah, with the final cut and the work print and the theatrical cut and the international cut and the director's cut and yeah, I love that thing. Documentary stuff is great on that. Awesome. And 2049 is something I watch all the freaking time. I'm always putting the 4K on up here, and I'm always putting the Blu-ray on the projector downstairs. Sound on that thing is killer. I freaking love that movie. I think I'm going to pull the trigger and buy that stupid Ryan Gosling coat from one of those like bootleggers. I just freaking love that movie. Submarine's got the briefcase. I almost bought the briefcase for Blade Runner. That was pretty cool. I've seen a couple people that have that, and it seemed pretty fun. Thought on Avengers Endgame, rumored to be 3 hours. Yeah, I'm psyched. I know there's some pushback in the MCU, and I know some people that really like, those movies are boring, they're crap, but I'm really impressed with the MCU. I was just talking earlier when I was watching Daredevil, I realized how far they'd come and how much they'd accomplished. And I used to read the comics in the 70s and the 80s, and was always interested in how they would cross over, and they'd always be like, see Ish number 37 Iron Man to find out more about this story. And obviously it was a cash grab to get you to buy so many different comics, but I never really thought there would be a day when they would have that like wide an array of characters and have it interspersed and really have like a cinematic universe. I'm like still in awe of the fact that it's a thing. Some people I think are completely meh about it, and I'm really surprised because I think it's insanely like amazing what they pulled off, and the fact that they're still allowing different films within the universe to have their own feel. The Guardians films have a different feel from Ant-Man, etc. But then they all coalesce. Can't believe they pulled it off. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm psyched. I'm psyched to buy him. I'm cool with 3 hours. I will sit my ass in the theater for 3 hours and watch that thing. It'll be fun. I'm always arguing with people at work about what's going to happen or how it's going to wrap up and all that stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What else is going on? I should go to bed. Yeah, Waterworld will probably go out of print pretty soon. Work print of Blade Runner is weird and kind of looks weird. Yeah, it's some strange stuff. I don't watch that on a regular basis, but it's cool to have. I wish I had seen it when they were showing in the 70mm back when it came out. It was such a weird period when like Ridley Scott found himself under the gun again to get his director's cut ready, or else they were just going to release the work print anyways. Like, how weird is it to be like pressed on like getting a release of a movie out, and then like over a decade later, like you think, oh, whatever, time is on my side, and then like, no, we're going to release this work print and call it the director's cut if you don't get your act together. But yeah, I didn't get to see one of the 70mm screenings. That would have been cool stuff. Hitcher 1986. Oh, I love the original Hitcher. I'd get that on Blu-ray in a heartbeat too. Infinity War on 4K. Yeah, I got the 4K of Infinity War too. I've got all the MCU, but it's like a mix of Blu-ray and 4K depending on the film. Like the Ant-Man sequel I got on 4K. Infinity War I have on 4K. And the Black Panther I have on 4K. Most of the newer stuff. I still don't have Dunkirk. That was one of those things that's I always mean to buy it, and it's always cheap and on Black Friday. And I almost got it on Black Friday, but I didn't. I don't know why I haven't, because like I have every other Christopher Nolan thing, so I need that. Yes, James Gunn is coming back for Guardians 3, and I'm psyched about it. I know it makes me an apologist for a horrible guy, but that whole thing was completely stupid, and I totally side with Drax on that one. And I was really bummed because Guardians 2 might be my favorite MCU movie, and I'm like Kevin Smith levels of in love with Guardians 2. Like, that movie is like amazing, like, and like just like hits you in the feels, and like just like it's like next level stuff. So the amount of I loved Guardians 2 when I heard he wasn't doing Guardians 3, even though it was going to be a script. That was a kick in the junk. So I was super happy that he was coming back. Well, 4K's got a Blade Runner 2049 Scotch bottle from Jack Daniels. Tastes great. Nice. This thing. I was excited about Denis Villeneuve doing a Blade Runner movie. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, I wish it was Ridley Scott or something, but I didn't anticipate how much I love that flick. Yeah, it's going to hold up for me, I think, just as much as the original. Austin's got Freeway 2 on Blu-ray from Dark Force. Oh, damn. I never saw Freeway 2. Original Batman movies coming to 4K soon. I wouldn't mind some Tim Burton on 4K. Yeah, Blade Runner, that was the first 4K disc I bought, actually, 2049. That was the one I finally was like, nah, I need that on UHD, man. Like, I don't even know if I had a UHD TV at the time. I was just like, I don't care. It's got the Blu-ray in it, so I can watch that in the meantime. But I'm gonna get a 4K TV just to watch this. Just like when I bought stuff like I wanted to get James Bond movies on Blu-ray. It didn't matter if I had a Blu-ray player yet, so I had Casino Royale like immediately. Good stuff. Well, Melinda only has 14 Blu-rays. I believe it. I mean, Maxine, I think, only got a Blu-ray not too long ago, too. So there's, and Moiki doesn't have any Blu-rays as far as I know. So there's some serious LD collectors out there that don't have any Blu-rays. So, so yeah, I believe you. But yeah, once you get down they're cheap now. So, I mean, unless you're getting, really, boutique stuff, the newer, they're cheap or they're expensive. It's like they're on either side of the fence. They're either like $25 a pop or up, or they're $3. So, but that said, there's a lot of really, really cool stuff you can get for stupid cheap. They're going to be in crappy eco packs, but yeah, what are you going to do? And then occasionally there's some pretty good deals. Like every once in a while, Best Buy will go on these weird like Scream Factory sales, and stuff will be like $14 or under, and I buy everything they have. Pete was saying Dr. No looks good. You can debate the color time. Yeah, Dr. No was probably the first outside of Casino Royale 007 Blu-ray I got, and once it like went from the Three Blind Mice song to that first shot on the streets, holy crap, I was just like, God, this looks amazing. And color timing or whatnot, I was like, yeah, this is like, it's like Dr. No just came alive. Yeah, Austin was saying a lot of people don't have Blu-rays. We were just talking earlier, a lot of people are still DVD only. So I got into Blu-rays, when did they start? 2006-ish maybe, something like that. Yeah, didn't want to start the rabbit hole. I can give my LD money for Blu-ray. Yeah, it's definitely a rabbit hole. I was saying before, like when I went to the archive, it's tough because I collect vinyl. They got a killer vinyl selection. Like I could go there and just buy vinyl, I could go there and just buy Blu-ray, and I could go there and just buy DVD probably, and I could go there and just buy LaserDisc. When I want all of the above, it's like, oh, dear God. Like, what's that? Oh, no, yeah, you can hate James Gunn all you want. That's fine. I think I just missed the whole thing. Yeah, he's got himself in hot water for sure in the past. But yeah, I never did follow anybody on Twitter, so I missed his whole era of crazy comments and everything. But I would just watch his movies and realize, whoa, these movies are completely demented. So I just assumed he was demented. Yeah, super, man. That movie is messed up. So yeah, I was just like, this guy's totally demented, but I'm cool with him directing a Guardians movie. Specials, I haven't seen that in a while. DocuSucker says you remembered skipping a day of high school to get the Blade Runner set at Best Buy, waiting outside the store for them to open just to get the brief. Damn, that is dedication. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I ever did like I've done the wait in the Best Buy parking lot before. And then when I used to work third shift though all the time, just because I'd like get off of work at like 8, and I'd be like, well, I'll go home and hang out for a bit. I might as well go to Best Buy because it's Tuesday, and they open at 10, so I'd like hang out in the parking lot for a little bit, but I didn't like stand in line or anything. Submarine's got over 1,000 Blu-rays, so yeah, it is an addiction, that's for sure. The Phantom Menace, is that one of the recuts of Phantom Menace? Because I know all the original, Jar Jar less cuts, and the stream of that was pretty much like the fan edit ground zero. I never did watch any of them, but I do have the LaserDisc, so I've got the theatrical cut. Is Pulp Fiction worth getting on Blu-ray? Yeah, it's not bad. I originally bought the Hong Kong version because it wasn't available here domestically. And that one, I had major lip sync issues with it. That kept getting worse as the film progressed. But it looked pretty good. And then I got the domestic one for like $7 from FYE. It looks pretty good. And it's got, I think, just about all the special features from the Criterion Collection box set. Pulp Fiction's like one of those movies too. Like, it never has looked very, very sharp or anything like that. Like that movie's only gonna look so good. Like, and that's as good as it looks, really. So I think it looks fine on Blu-ray. I still have this. Yeah, I think I still have the special edition DVD of Pulp 2 that came in the little slip case, had the little window cut out there. I picked that up in the Jackie Brown one, which had, I think, a bunch of bullet holes on there. And I was a sucker for every like Reservoir Dogs version. I had the faux 10th anniversary one with the different covers Artisan put out with. I think I had the Mr. Pink or the Mr. White one. Then I had like a big box of them that came with like shot glasses or something like that I found at like a dollar store. And then I got the one that had the it came in the gasoline can. And then, of course, the laser. I need the Japanese LaserDisc of that. I love the artwork on the Japanese LD. And I hate the side break on the domestic LaserDisc. Do I have House by the Cemetery on Blue? I do. I've got the it's one of those like Lucio Fulci Blue Underground collections. So I think it's got House by the Cemetery and maybe City of the Living Dead and New York Ripper, maybe. It's got a couple on there. Yeah, so yeah, I do have it on Blue, and I watched it. It looked pretty good. That's a good deal too. It's like all the extras and stuff on there. Those, I think they had like an Argento one too, which I never picked up because I have all the Argento stuff like separately. But yeah, if you want to get like if you want to save yourself a bunch of money on LaserDisc and get like the Fulci collection from Blue Underground and the Argento collection, you got a lot of badass flicks with some cool extras for like 40 something bucks. So Melinda was asking about the podcast. I would love to get the podcast going. I would either love to get the original podcast crew back together, a new incarnation. Like, I know Sean and I were trying to get something going with Nick LaValle, which should have been and would have been really cool. It was just like we never really got together. I'd love to do like a freaking LD podcast network, get a bunch of people doing some shows and we'll get like a Nerdist Enterprises thing going, but like LD centric, and have a bunch of get LaserDisc home theater to do a show, or etc. We'll get Spencer to do one, get everybody involved in that. But yeah, I wouldn't mind doing like a couple different things, because there's other angles you can do. Not just reviews or whatever. You could talk about more like historical aspects of it, more technical aspects of it. So that'd be fun. I would love to get back. I would love to get, Moikey and Sean back together, at least to do like a live stream one someday, maybe. There's been moments where you catch Moikey. I don't know if he's had a few or something like that, but a certain time of night, and he's like, "Let's do it now." I'm pretty sure he might actually mean it. So if the rest of us were actually, but it's always like a thing where like Sean's not available at that point. Like, but there's almost been moments where we've just like pulled off like a live stream podcast. Yeah, Pulp Fiction, it was low budget, man. Like, people lost, like, they didn't lose their pay, but like, Bruce Willis was like, no, I'm not really getting paid to be in this movie just to be in the movie. So it's got a certain look to it, because low budget stuff. But I think it looks pretty badass. New York Ripper 4K. Oh, come on, 4K. Make me buy more Fulci. I'm supposed to enjoy my New York Ripper Blu-ray. Now I gotta buy a 4K. Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 from Shout. Oh, yeah, I don't have those. I need to get that. You should get Candyman SF Blue. Yeah, that's on my list. I got Candyman on LaserDisc. Open that. Which is okay. But I really love that flick. And, of course, Clive Barker. I need to get that. Pete, I love the LaserDiscotheque song. What is Sean and Moikey's problem with DVD and Blu-ray? Actually, it's not really too much of a problem. Like, Moikey was just... He collected Blu-ray, but he just had this, like, kind of, like, come to Jesus moment. And just realized he enjoyed LDs more. And, like, I guess, like, the size of it. And, he didn't enjoy a lot of newer movies anyway. So, I know Sean actually, will enjoy a good Criterion Collection Blu-ray any day of the week, and I know he was getting into Arrow stuff recently, so don't let him fool you. He actually likes that stuff. Moikey was the only like actual like diehard like anti-DVD, anti-Blu-ray. He's like full LD only, but there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek fun in the LaserDiscotheque theme song. Shout Disc of Exorcist 2 is a nice addition. I might pull the trigger and watch Exorcist 2 again. Yeah, just gotta catch them all, right? Maybe I'll get like the Rennie Harlan, Paul Schrader kind of fourth movie too. Wish 4K restoration of Zombie is released with a 4K UHD disc. Yeah, again, we'll probably get to a point where there's going to be a lot of cooler 4K UHDs on the niche kind of horror movie thing. Alligator needs a Blu-ray release. Yeah, I haven't seen Alligator in a long time. Savage Streets is on Blu-ray again. Oh man, talking about like street movies and gritty movies. It's Ohio based, but not New York. But not too long ago, I watched Arrow's Deadbeat at Dawn. Man, that movie is awesome. It's not a horror movie. It's not an anything movie. It's not. I don't know what it is. It's just it is what it is, and it's insane, and I freaking love it. And it's so just nasty and gnarly and gritty, and it just completely weird. Love Deadbeat at Dawn. Spencer's down for some podcast shenanigans. Nice. Good to hear. Shout Factory Exodus 2 has the alternate cut as well, which is rare. Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching the alternate cut. I used to know a guy who was like the local cool film critic guy who was just totally in love with that movie and unapologetic. It wasn't like a guilty pleasure. It was just unapologetic about loving that movie. So there's something to it. Like somebody's got to be right about that movie being cool. Pete Moikey's the contrarian that tries to act cool. But he likes VHS more than anything else. I don't know if he trucks with it. I think he must have some VHS. But strangely enough, like as far as I know, he's like just LD for the most part. But he's got to have some VHS. But yeah, we used to make fun of him because he loves like all those like full moon like kids movies. Like the pre-hysteria and all that stuff. When we like make fun of all his like. Yeah, of course, there's stuff he saw when he was younger, but like he was making fun of his film choices all the time, especially Vincent and the crew. Then now there's the whole battle online about highbrow films versus lowbrow films. So we're always the battle of the brow this year. But yeah, so I would definitely love to get some podcasting going. So I'll be in touch with some people or something like that. I wouldn't mind getting Maxine involved in some stuff too. I know she expressed some interest. and doing some podcasting, and it was a really good time when she was on LaserDisc with us. All the time, yeah, it was fun when we had Pete on LaserDisc. So it's tough trying to orchestrate that, like all those different audio feeds and everything like that. So I'd also like the audio sucked on those because we tried to get just Sean to get some like quality recording stuff going for the longest time. So it was just so much echo and stuff like that. So it was tough. So yeah, in fact, I just listened to episode 10 because I didn't put a visual aids version of episode 10 on. I was like, I need to actually get around to doing that. And I listened to the audio. I'm like, the audio on this sucks. Like, do I want to put up a visual aids version? The podcast MP3 is still out there. So we'll see. Maybe I'll still do that. Everyone's trashing Moiki. When Wiki hates DVD, it reminds me of the jerk in the internet that thinks every great movie is overrated. Yeah, there's always that contrarian. So yeah. All right. I'm thinking about this whole podcast thing. I need to get it going. Austin wants Evil Dead's on Blu-ray or 4K. I still haven't pulled the trigger on Evil Dead on 4K or the Evil Dead 2. Yeah, you remember Pre-Hysteria. Of course you do. It's cool. Some of the Full Moon transfers are pretty good. Some of the earlier ones are kind of mad. So, yeah, Full Moon is like one of those things. Like I had to get Pit and the Pendulum on LD. Like that was one of my favorites. Everything else is like I can even live with VHS copies of Full Moon flicks. I got some of that stuff that Shout Factory was putting out on DVD as like 2-for-1s, and I swear like some of those things are like VHS transfers. Like I got Robot Wars and Crash and Burn, and they look like ass, but they still look just like I expect them to look. I don't have any of the Trumbull Blu-rays. I'd be intrigued to check some of that stuff out. But I'd ask Moiki, but I know he won't know. All right, I should probably crap out. It's 12:30. I've been keeping you guys up long enough. Do I know any contrarians I find annoying? Well, other than George Lucas, he always drives me crazy, and Varg Vikernes, the black metal musician, is always whatever anybody says. Like he's like, oh no, it's wrong, or it's something else. Yeah, anybody that's like a major contrarian like drives me crazy. But yeah, George Lucas is my least favorite contrarian. Like he'll say something, and then an interviewer will go and be like, so Star Wars is influenced by the Hidden Fortress. Oh no, I hate the Hidden Fortress. I like Seven Samurai. Hidden Fortress, no. It's like sure George. There's no Hidden Fortress in Star Wars. But like anything he said once, you say back to him, and he says you're wrong. Whoa, dude, Tyler's on board. I was just about to crap out too. What's going on, man? Tyler in the house. Pit in the Pendulum is nice on Blu-ray. I haven't seen that one yet. But Seco Lavos heading out. Good night. Jumping on the bandwagon to please everyone and being a contrarian are equally bad in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I find myself on some weird situations on the bandwagon side. Like, I got a PlayStation 3. All my friends had an Xbox and were like ultimately pissed at me because I didn't have an Xbox, because that's what you do. You get an Xbox and you play your friends online. And I'm like, I got my PlayStation. I'm cool. And then like years later, they got a PS3 and they're like, oh, okay, we're cool with it now. Same thing now. I get like Netflix shade. You should get Netflix. I'm like, I got Prime. I'm good. Catch you later, Tyler. Thanks for stopping in, man. I'm about to crap out soon anyways and get some sleep. But so I get like that. Netflix, man. You gotta get Netflix. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I got Stranger Things on Blu-ray. I'm cool. I'll watch that. I'll maybe watch some stuff through some friends or something like that. But I don't want to throw all my money around. I ditched cable already. I'm perfectly fine with Amazon Prime, but like that's just not an option. Like, you need to get on the bandwagon and get with things. So. Also, like I have friends at work that are just so angered that I don't watch like Westworld or something like that. So it's hilarious. Like that whole water cooler talk is tough now, man. Because like back in the day, like water cooler talk was like the things that were on network TV. But now like no two people have the same lineup of streaming services. Like someone might dig something on Hulu, but the other two people next to you don't have it. So it's a lot tougher to have this kind of like consensus, like other than Game of Thrones. Everybody watches Game of Thrones, but it's tougher to have this consensus of like what the cool thing everybody's watching, and then everybody wants to make everybody else watch the cool thing they're watching. So it's this weird kind of splintered world right now. But Netflix is the one thing you have to have, but I don't have it. Don't really feel like getting it. Typical rule is that if a movie is 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, you have to like it. But that's not how it should be. Yeah, I've never had a problem liking something because it's popular, and it always like felt strange to me that there was that argument levied, and maybe there were some people that like when I saw The Phantom Menace for the first time, I legitimately didn't like it, but then there was all these reasons why people didn't like it. When I heard Metallica's Load the first time, I just didn't like it, and it wasn't in reaction to any kind of like mass mass reaction to the film or anything like that. It was just, yeah, I didn't like it. And same thing, sometimes there's like films I like that, yeah, are pretty damn popular, but it's not because they're pretty popular. I'm pretty cool saying a pretty popular movie sucked. Like, I don't like Armageddon. Like, I'll buy it on LaserDisc, but I saw it in the theater and I thought it sucked, and it's like, that's it. I kind of severed my ways with it. But yeah, it being 90s, I'll watch it again. Nowadays, 90s is like the ultimate cool things to like alongside the 80s stuff was way overblown for a period, and I grew up in the 80s, so but yeah, if I don't like a movie, I don't like a movie. Yeah, exactly. Austin's like that. And it's funny too, is I also will like not fixate on a movie if I don't really like it. So it's funny because sometimes later people will be like, well, what didn't you like about it? And be like, I knew like within a month or two of it coming out, but I actually like don't hold on to that like disappointment and anger. Like maybe if it's like something I love that turns bad, but yeah, I usually just kind of let it go. So like if you had talked to me like within a couple months of the film's release, I probably would have gone on like this big Dennis Leary, Mr. Pink-esque tear about like all these points about why it sucks and why I hated it, and it was a super heartfelt disappointment. But like I just kind of let that go. So it's interesting. Now sometimes I like, why don't I like that movie? Maybe I need to watch it again and realize why I hate it. But Pete was saying I'm a contrarian, sometimes not a fan of Avatar. I wanted to love Avatar because I love James Cameron movies, but Avatar I'm completely down the middle on. And it's one of those movies I actually like throwing on the Blu-ray sometimes late at night, staying up to like 3 a.m. and watching. But it's a very kind of empty movie plot-wise for something so big, and it should be a lot more intricate and I don't know. And there was that kind of thing about people wanting to disappear into that world, and I feel that way about certain other movies. Like I wanted to disappear into Blade Runner 2049 and some other films, but I never got that vibe from Avatar. It just seemed very, very simple and very on the nose, but yeah, you're beautiful in many ways and interesting, but definitely like as a James Cameron diehard, couldn't hold a candle to Aliens. So yeah, obviously go see his other films. I have no idea what kind of story he's going to pull out of his ass for 4 more movies, but yeah, any Kubrick films I'd like to see Criterion released on Blu-ray. Yeah, I would love a Clockwork Blu-ray. Have they done what else have they done? I'm trying to think of what they ported over onto Blu-ray or not, but I actually need to visit some of the older Kubrick stuff that I never saw. But I'd love to have Doctor Strangelove on Blu-ray. I don't have that. And a Criterion Full Metal Jacket would be kind of cool. I've got the Blu-ray of that, but not Criterion. But yeah, Clockwork Orange for sure. Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah, there you go. Eyes Wide Shut is a movie I saw in the theaters and I didn't like it. I thought it was like weak sauce Krzysztof Kozlowski knockoff, and I know that makes me sound like he's trying to be Krzysztof Kozlowski. No one else can be like the maker of the Decalogue. But no, that was like legit. Like I actually loved Krzysztof Kozlowski movies, like legitimately, without any like outside influence really. And then I saw Eyes Wide Shut, and I was like, I loved the look of it though. I thought it was beautiful. Like the grain was like alive, and the blacks with those weird like kind of blues and stuff in them. I thought it was like visually stunning. But yeah, it totally left me in the cold. I thought it was like a misfire. Friend of mine, we used to call it Eyes Wide Shit because we were so edgy. But yeah, like a 1999 movie, like that era, Fight Club was like something I enjoyed far more, and even American Beauty. But I need to revisit it. But I'll give Eyes Wide Shut another shot. But yeah, the release prints. Yeah, that movie was like a thing to behold in cinemas for sure. Mad Max Fury Road is a good chase flick, but said there was no story. See, that was another one. That was one where I just like, I love body, mind, and soul. Like Mad Max Fury Road was just like, yes, you had me at Mad Max Fury Road. Like every element of it. It doesn't even really matter that there's no real story or anything like that. And that Mel Gibson wasn't in it. There's just, it's just everything about it is right. It's like putting on the suit. It's like a perfect suit. I'm like, this is the movie made for me. This is my movie. This is it. Like everything I thought I was gonna see, I saw. Like the vibe was right. It's like sometimes just like that perfect thing. Blade Runner 2049, perfect. Fight Club, perfect. Mad Max Fury Road, perfect. There was just those movies I'm like, this is a, I don't want to swear, but yeah, because there's kids up now. This is an effing classic. This is gonna be like my favorite movie. Heat. The first time I saw Heat, I was like, the Hartford Courant gave this 3 stars and was like, it's meh. Like, I need to find that guy and slap the crap out of Malcolm Johnson from the Current, because this is a freaking stone cold masterpiece. Heat is going to be studied in the future. People are going to be talking about that scene with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. It's going to be taught in film school classes. Heat is going to be like a movie that will be cherished decades from now. And I was 100% right, and that schmuck from the Current was wrong. So that guy can suck it. Heat is amazing. I don't know where that comes from, but Mad Max Fury Road, I also loved. What else? I should go to bed for a what else is going down? Yeah, The Killing. Yeah, I've never seen The Killing. There's some older Kubrick stuff I need to check out. So yeah, The Killing, Strangelove, and Barry Lyndon are on Criterion. Yeah, so I'll definitely get a Dr. Strangelove. Paths of Glory, never seen it. So that's another. Yeah, there you go. There's a movie you'd be shocked. He does a director's cut. Yeah, I did get the Blu-ray. I've got the LaserDisc, the Japanese cut, or the Japanese LaserDisc, and the American one. So I've got that. I've got the 2-disc DVD, and I got the Blu-ray. Out of like Michael Mann does kind of mess with the movies a little bit with his director's cut, and that one didn't really didn't bug me. I thought it did look beautiful, and it didn't trounce on the kind of cinematic legacy of it. I was less enthused with like some of the stuff he did with Last of the Mohicans, because he keeps like kind of tweaking Last of the Mohicans. Like when he took the Clannad song out of it, like I'm like, oh come on, I love that moment. And I think now like the newer one, he finally put the Clannad song back into it. I'm like, thank God. So yeah, Last of the Mohicans was one of those ones where I was like, yeah, don't mess with that too much. Michael Mann movies, there's his vibe is something that just like syncs up with my DNA. And yeah, some of his movies I like more than others, like Last of the Mohicans. Yeah, even his older stuff. Oh, freaking Manhunter, man. Thief. How do you make movies that cool? And when he discovered digital and what he did with it, freaking blows me away. Collateral. I absolutely love Miami Vice. I'm the guy that loves the Miami Vice movie, and I love this series too. But yeah, totally love Miami Vice, and I watch that a lot. That's like my wife's sleeping. It's 11 o'clock at night. Miami Vice director cut time. That's just one of those movies. Pete also digs Heat. Nice. You know, Melinda was asking about the TV version of Heat, which goes by a bunch of different names. There's LA Takedown and LA Crime Wave and LA Dance Party. And I remember there was VHS copies because it came out in VHS in the UK, and there was a lot of people making like dubs of that, like it was a PAL transfer or whatever. There was lots. I never did get around to picking it up. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool if there was like either a Criterion or an Arrow version of Heat, like multiple cuts of the movie, the TV version? I'd be all up in that. But yeah, so I've never seen it. I've never seen the TV one. I'd love to. I mean, I know it's not going to be as epic and magnificent as Heat, but it'll be just interesting seeing different people playing those characters. Yeah, I definitely prefer the original Blade Runner too. 2049 is like its own thing. Yeah, but yeah, I love it. Yeah, it is amazing that Fury won 6 Oscars. I still can't believe it that yeah, it had, because it kind of disappeared in theaters. I'm like, oh, come on. But it was like critically acclaimed, but I didn't expect it to actually merit all those Oscars. I was like, wow, hot damn. Like, sometimes they get it right. Yeah. David Fincher never wins anything, but oh, nice. Pete also digs a Miami Vice movie. All right, excellent. Fist bump. Yeah, I haven't seen the 4K Bram Stoker's Dracula. I thought I heard good things about it, though. So that's another one of those movies, I'll buy over and over again. I love that movie. I saw it a bunch of times in the theater. I just dig the crazy vintage practical effects he did with it. It surprised me, because like Coppola wasn't really knocking things out of the park at that time. And I was like, you really got a sense that he had a good time making that movie too, and it kind of shows in the making of. So like, he's just kind of let loose, and it shows. And I don't know, there's a lot of heart in that movie. It really didn't get well reviewed. People read it off a lot, but I dug it. I kept digging it. I got it on LaserDisc. It's one of those things. Oh yeah, Fincher won a Golden Globe for Social Network, so they still need to catch up. He did some badass movies. All right, my battery's running low, so I officially got a claw tonight. I forgot to actually plug in. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. And again, drop in some topics or something if you want to talk about anything particular next week. I'll be back. I'll try and do Wednesday again. Go back to Wednesday, but Thursday's been pretty fun too. So we'll keep it going every week, and maybe I'll have some more pickups and stuff next week too. And I gotta still have some properly edited videos I gotta release. So some of those should be coming soon. But yeah, if there's some cool topics, keep them going in the comments, and I'll keep in touch with you guys, and we'll talk. And next week I'll probably do that. I'll break down my LDs by genre and give you a preview, see what kind of titles I have, and see which genre I have the most LDs in, all that sort of stuff. So keep it real, everybody, and thanks a ton for hanging out. And yeah, we'll see. Hopefully some of you, maybe not all of you, but yeah, as many of you as can come by next week. I'll try and post the stream early again, and let people know what's going on. And hopefully I won't have a sinus attack like I did last night. So cheers, everybody. Have a good one.